What it do, what it do, what it do, Hump Day edition of Outlaw Radio. Welcome to the show. I am Kevin Barnes, Kevin A. Barnes Sr. In some circles, I'm known as the Negro Whisperer, certified professional life coach, Negro Whisperer. Give it up for me.
There you go. Talk that shit.
Give it up for you, too. It's Outlaw Radio. Thank you for tuning in. Share the show, share the show, share the show. I am not alone. Normally, I would have my partner, the Witch Doctor. He's running a little bit behind. So we'll jump down to Fonzarelli. How you doing tonight, my brother? What's going on?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Just spent all day dealing with trolls on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? So I got to make them response videos of that. But, it just let me shine a little bit harder.
TikTok was TikToking, apparently, right?
Yeah. I can talk about the Bible. They don't like that shit.
Right. And I know y'all see it. I know y'all can't believe it. This is the second show in a row that Courtney is actually here on time. Give it up for her. She got a bowl of alphabet soup eating it, but we can't ask for everything all at once. We just got to get her here.
I got some ice cream with some Oreos, and that's what I was gonna tell you. Real. Anytime I eat Oreos, I be sitting there and I'm like, I bet these motherfuckers was printed. I bet they was printed. All of them. They taste good, but I just know it came from a printer or something. I don't know.
You got your tinfoil hat on with that one, Courtney. Oreos are not real, y'all. They're made by 3D printers. How you doing tonight?
Right. I'm all right.
Okay. Everything going well. You got a lot of big stuff coming up. I don't expect you to be able to remember it all, but I'm sure we'll get to it as the show goes along. And we have a surprise guest this evening, and she has never been on Outlaw Radio, so we welcome her here, and I want to give it up for her. I will let her tell you who she is herself. And my sister, make sure you unmute. Sometimes people start talking, they let's be moving like a karate movie because they don't know they're muted. Tell the people who you are and what you do.
Yes, try not to laugh. You are funny. My name is Riviera Rose Lambert. I'm a self-published author for the book called The Secrets of How to Heal a Broken Rose and a documentary, The Secrets of How to Heal a Broken Roses in America. I'm also a manager, and my greatest gift to this world is being a mom.
Okay. Yeah, I will echo that sentiment. Happen to be a pappy myself, right? Got a few jits running around here. So I know what that's like. I know the tremendous joy you get from that. But you're going to talk about something very important tonight, something that we've talked about on this show many a times, which is trauma, dealing with trauma, doing all this. Trauma is like at the center of every conversation we have in a broken city like Milwaukee. The name of the show tonight is Irritated. Because we are in a state of irritation. And so, I try to big up the good stuff as much as possible, the progressive stuff. So if you have something out there that you do or that you're promoting or that you're involved in, here is your stage to do it because we support positivity. Now, don't get me wrong. We're cheerleaders for foolishness also sometimes. Little Suki Hana there, little Suki Hana there, little sexy red there, right? People got brown and pink body parts all over the place. But it's normally Mondays and Wednesdays, right? Mondays and Wednesdays from 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time until whatever we choose to cut the machine on. So if you want to see the show, there is the People's News Network. There's Outlaw Radio, the Facebook page. There's my personal government name page, Kevin Barnes. So you can see it. There's a way to see it. We've had some dope shows. A lot of dope people come through. The number associated with the show, because you may have questions for this sister as we go into what she's doing, is 262-202-5131. Once again, it's 262-202-5131. There's also a chat room. I see my chat room shaking already. I see Dion in there. He says, knock, knock. He's big. He's shouting everybody out. I can't actually hear you, Dion. I can see your messages though, because Dion is in the chat room before the show starts, right? Y'all got to understand that Dion don't play about Outlaw Radio. He's speaking to everybody. He said he sees some new faces. Yes, you see our esteemed guest. We're happy to have her here tonight. Sean Moore, what it do? We got a
Peace.
conversation about trauma tonight, right? He said you ain't a mom, dude. I know I'm not a mom, but I do understand how good how she said it's important. I understand how important being a parent is. I'm sorry that you don't, Sean. Since you want to start irritating me during a show that's called Irritated, right? How you doing, Ruben? Ruben Anderson, how you doing? He said, did I catch the info? Did you send me something? I don't know if you sent me something, Ruben. If you did, I will have to double check. I haven't been in my messenger. Well, I was when I sent the link, but I haven't looked at anything. So send it to me. Witch doctor in the building. What's going on, my brother? How you doing tonight?
Peace.
Hi, Kumar.
Peace. How y'all doing?
I know you don't like talking when you come in late,
How y'all
sir.
doing?
We
We're
good.
good. You got to get your internet got to warm up. I know he said his computer has to
Ah,
warm up.
Yeah, give me a second.
Give him a second. Give him a second. Give him a second. Mama Jenkins in the chat room. We appreciate Mama Jenkins all the time. She says, good evening, my Outlaw family. Welcome guests. And I'm real fucking irritated with this leadership. Irritated.
yeah.
If you are irritated with anything, holler at us. Tonight is the night. Share the show. Share the show. Tell everybody. Irritated is Outlaw Radio tonight. I gotta look, Ruben. I don't know. He said, hold up, I got 6. So don't do me. Okay, well then you should understand why you starting shit. Why blow your nose and spite your face, right? I was just relating to our guest. Ewok already on it. He said, I knew she was lying about that baby. So much to get into. He said, I'm beyond irritated, damn it. Hey, Courtney, he's speaking to everybody. So my sister,
Hey,
as you can tell, a lot goes on Outlaw Radio. We cover a lot of ground. And so you see people are always itching to like jump the conversation off about what's going on. But I see your name, Sipping and Spilling the Tea. Now, what is this? Is this a concept? Is this a show? What is this? Is this just a nickname like Fonzarelli or the Witch Doctor? What is this?
Sipping and spilling the tea is no witch doctor or nothing like that. It's my podcast, and it'll be coming back on after I've been busy with the documentary. I have an upcoming event to premiere the documentary this Saturday. So it's just basically a podcast. Talks about mental health, financial health, giving people guidance on how to heal the right way.
Okay. So healing, dealing with trauma. Let's get into why this is your cup of tea. Why is this what made you undertake this cause?
Honestly, because I was looking to heal myself.
Okay.
No, that's the truth. I would never forget when I had my first mental breakdown after I left my son's father, and I didn't know how to transition that from being engaged to now I'm a single mother. Never got to mourn the loss of our daughter. He had cancer during the whole time I was pregnant, so dealing with that, and I just had a breakdown. And I always wonder, like, how do I get over this? How do I pick up the pieces? Because I had so many people telling me, get over it. You're okay. Stay with him. Everybody deal with this. And it just took me to a journey like, no, I want to find myself again. I really want to heal the correct way because I don't want my son to ever experience this brokenness. And I didn't want my son to see his mom crying and asking, like, why is she crying? Why is she not happy?
Okay. And so what was the action? What was your plan? How did you manage to come out of it?
I have to be honest with myself. I did therapy. Therapy did not work for me. I am pro, go if therapy is for you, go do it. I took another holistic way. I went on the spirituality path, where I met this lady named Ava. She taught me about meditation. She taught me about spiritual bath and connected with the universe and, doing grounding and connecting to God and being more disciplined.
Okay. Kamar, you warmed up? You stretched out? You ready? Well, I shouldn't say pause. I shouldn't say stretched out. I mean, like in sports, how you have to stretch before you play. Okay. You good, Kamar? I just want to make sure you on the one with us. I don't think his computer's warmed up yet. Kamar computer needs to warm up, right? You gotta do jumping jack.
Off mute.
Right. That's what I'm saying. People muting their mics and then forgetting they muted.
Say it one more time. I'm still tripping.
Right. We just want to know if you was with us yet. I don't know where you are right now. I'm trying to figure out where you at because it sounds like my sister,
I'm listening though. I'm listening, but I could tell it's my computer still jumping.
Okay. So we talk about being connected on the level that you just talked about holistically. And Kamar is a big time, and that's why I said the witch doctor, because that's what we call him, the ghetto witch doctor. Because he's connected with the whole holistic thing. Rail has, I don't even know, a Grand Canyon worth of knowledge in terms of connections and all the stuff you just talked about is what we kind of ring on. I'm the only person on the show who's not right. I'm the only person that's still all fucked up. So you have some people here who would agree, especially about meditation.
Yeah.
Because we've spoken about the importance of meditation on the show so many times. Growing up in the church, I was taught that it was called prayer.
Yes.
You thought that, you get down on your knees and you just pray. And then it's kind of reshaped itself into meditation now. So you said spirituality. What now, is this a specific religion, or is this how does the spirituality come into play?
A lot of people are going to get mad at me. I don't believe in religion. I believe in having a relationship with God and building a relationship with God. During my journey, I discover in different religion, I like all of it. I like Hindu. I love Buddha. I love everything, what everything stands for. So I couldn't just pick. So I just focus on my relationship with God and the universe and just focus on that.
Okay. Because when we hear God, we automatically think of Christianity.
Yes.
That's why I ask you that. And some people kind of use God now as kind of like a broad term. They don't mean it specifically as if like you believe in the Trinity, but they look at it like God, like, Thor is the god of thunder in Avengers, right? Like, so people they use God on like a lot of us say we're God. The black man is God. God is in me. So that's why I ask you specifically how how you relate to it, because I know that at the center of almost anything that you're going through, there is a spiritual connection that you have to establish to get out of it.
Yes.
And I don't know if you call it meditating. I don't know if you said grounding. Rail, what do you call? You call it shadow work? Is that what your shadow work is? Because Rail has a whole book about that.
Shadow work is a different practice. You can do it while meditating. In a nutshell, for me, meditating is taking my focus off of any external stimulus, whether what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at anything, listening to anything like that. And when you take your focus off of external sources of information, your inward man gets to speaking to you. And some people call that God. I believe it is God, but I also believe it is me, because I believe that God is within. So that's meditation in a nutshell. Just getting quiet and still and letting that inward voice talk to you and tell you what we need to be addressing and fixing.
Okay.
I'm working shadow work as well. So I heard that from the kitchen, the word shadow work. So just know I'm working on it.
Okay. Okay. So like I said, the conversation has traction. Look, my chat room is popping. I see Jesse Parrish from out in Denver. He says, "Peace, Outlaws from Frontline Black News and Shabaka's Black Experience in Hands." Shout out to you and Shabaka, man. I wanted to join you all last night, but because Shabaka asked me to come on, and I usually go on there. But I was what they call twisted, like just doing stuff. Like it was like one thing after another, and one of the things when you got these jits, man, I need this, I need that, and I want to go here. Can you pick me up? So I was just moving.
They say that though, like, man, I was twisted last night, meaning they were busy with their children. I've never heard that sentence yet.
You said you broke up. You said you've never heard it. What?
I never heard that in the sentence. Someone said, "Man, I was twisted last night," and they were saying it as in they was busy with their children.
Okay.
I've never heard that in the sentence.
We innovate on the show, right?
I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, I say, man, I got all twisted up, man. I was rolling. So we're gonna get into that more. We have some time with this sister here tonight. You have a book, correct?
Yes.
You also have a documentary coming out. First of all, say the name of the book again. What's the name of the book?
The Secrets of How to Heal the Broken Rose. A Broken Rose.
A Broken Rose. Okay, and this is out right now.
Yes.
How can people get your book?
They can get it at Barnes and Nobles, Lulu Bookstore, Amazon. They can get it through me if they want to inbox me on Facebook. I could send them a copy. But yeah, Amazon and Barnes and Nobles.
Okay, and we'll get the sister's socials as we move along. Now, the documentary is called what?
Is the same title as the book. It's based off the book, but it tells Courtney's in it. And it just gives, it's called The Secrets of How to Heal the Broken Roses in America.
Okay. Courtney, what's your role in this? What you doing in this?
Speaking on trauma in my life, the things I've experienced, the things that have broken me in my life. So not a whole bunch of everything, but a story or two.
Okay. Now this is coming out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When is it released?
July 22nd. I'm having an event where I'll be debuting it to everyone. Also, it will be streaming on YouTube, Vimeo. Also, Amazon Prime will be distributing it too as well. And after we get done and negotiate with other streaming services, it will be streaming there at a later date.
Are you going to put it on Tubi?
The cameraman, Jake, who helped film it, he filmed it. He said put it on there too as well. So he's going to do that.
Tubi get it popping. And if y'all do a movie, I want to play one of the bad guys. Or if you need like a villain, somebody who's like just, what that boy say on that movie, you better speak to me in lowercase letters. All right. I want to play one of them roles. I want to do Bishop from Juice. I've always wanted to be a bad guy in the movie. All right. So if y'all need just like a character for people to just hate, I'm here for y'all. Like, oh, he broke her. He the one who broke the rose. Right. Yeah, holla at me. Sean Moore said we need to have a show just meditating. Well, that would be called us not doing a show, Sean. I don't know how you do a talk show with people just meditating. He said ain't nobody on here gonna be mad. Or maybe if we all just practice, meditating. I've tried to meditate, but it's very hard for me to shut everything out. Right? Like I gotta work on being able to just really shut, because if I hear something move, what's that? Hey, don't play.
Just take practice, Kev.
Right.
Take practice. You gotta build your endurance up.
I hear you. And like I said, because if I'm quiet like that for a long time, automatically I start to pray. Like my mind starts to converse with a higher power. I start to say, hey, well,
meditate.
Right, okay. So because I was told you're supposed to just empty your mind and just focus and just be
in
the void.
You just be quiet and observe what comes, So as you having that conversation, just observe that conversation objectively, without any judgment or expectation, and then it'll reveal to you some things that maybe you would want to address.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with what he said. I know for me. For me, the first time I meditate, it was hard for me to do it because I kept, like you said, I couldn't focus. And what she taught me was like focus on something that makes you happy, visualize it.
Right.
And then after I did that, I was like, oh, my son, he makes me laugh and stuff like that. So I pictured him, and then eventually I got to like meditate more, and I didn't have to do that.
Okay. And I, because that's interesting that you said you focused in on something that's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I maybe that would be a place to start, because I was always told you have to completely empty your mind, like you don't think about anything. You go blank.
Well, you can't. Well, see, the thing about the only problem with emptying your mind, you know what I mean, is like you never can really empty your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You dig what I'm saying? Right. So it's like you take practice. It takes practice, like, you know what I'm saying? When you first go into it, it's hard, you know what I mean? Because you never really did it before. It's hard to get your mind to sit still. When I learned, I was told to focus Because see, the only part that's supposed to be moving when you breathe is your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I was told to focus on your navel from the inside, like visualize your navel, and that helped clear stuff. But then one thing what our ancestors understood about meditation and changing different things about us, changing our thinking patterns is, and changing and fix healing triggers is you go through meditation and you know what I mean? You visualize these different trigger moments happening and you visualize yourself handling it better, you know what I'm saying, in a way that you would like to, over and over and over and over again, you know what I mean? Because see, your brain learns subconsciously through repetition.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if you visualizing this over and over, it can possibly help you, you know what I mean, with a personality trait or something.
And
so
people might
I
be,
mean, the goal ain't to go blank, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that wouldn't be smart.
the people might be listening to the show, and I know people want to get into, you know, what's going on. We're gonna get into that. Y'all know we're gonna talk about some foolishness eventually, but we try to sandwich what we do. We try to make a sandwich, and we try to have something positive, something for you to grow on, something for you to take with you, instead of just focusing on the negative. Now, why is this an important conversation? In particular, because in the Black community, we talk about suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome. And we talk about being you know, suffering from all of these different ills that we've suffered generationally, that's been passed down even through our DNA. Like, Black people inherit stress through DNA. Almost, it's almost genetic for you to be born. You know, how many little babies you see that's walking around pissed? Like, how is he pissed? He's 9. Like, what is he mad about? Right? So it comes with it. And so this conversation on how to deal with trauma, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it, especially for women, right? Because a lot of men, we go through stuff and, you know, it's trauma, but we kind of just, we deal with it and just kind of lock it away and say, all right, I'm cool. I can move forward. It doesn't, I don't think it drags us down as much as it does women, although I know it does drag us down. So I don't want anybody to say, Kevin, you wrong. But I think women being the more emotional of the two, it kind of, because you see it when they Erica Badu said it, bag lady, you gonna miss your bus. I don't know if people really knew what that song was about. It wasn't really about a homeless lady. It was about women carrying baggage that they can't get rid of, and every time they get into a new relationship or situation, they bring it with them. And so if you don't deal with your trauma, male or female, you're going to have baggage, right? So if you out there right now and you stressed and you are what we call the show irritated, right? Sometimes stressors can be triggers that'll make all of that trauma come right back out. So you thought you was over it until you went into some stressful situation. You said, I'm right back to where the hell I was. So I wanted you to talk a little bit more about, okay, you met someone who put you down a religious, spiritual path. You started to meditate. What else did you do? What else got you going on your journey?
I had to really be, during healing, people don't never tell you you have to be truly transparent and honest with yourself. And when you're being honest with yourself, you have to really recognize and accept that you do make mistakes. You have to recognize that you are flawed and you're not perfect. And during my journey, I had to really accept myself. And I had to also heal my inner child, you know, my inner self. I had to really heal her, because I discovered I was dealing with a lot of stuff from growing up, from my childhood, my mother, you know, domestic violence household, dealing with molestation, where I, you know, was questioning my sexuality, you know, because I was touched by a girl. A lot of people don't talk about that, where your cousins touch you and it's a woman and you're like, is this okay? It don't feel like it's okay. And I had to really deal with that because that was a lot of stuff I blocked out. And as an adult, and I didn't understand why I didn't allow people to touch me so much or get close to me. And so in the journey, I had to really be open and honest and have tough conversations with my mother. I had to have tough conversations within myself. That's when the shadow work came in place too, which she taught me. And I had to really talk to my inner self, my inner child, and let her know, hey, it's okay. I'm sorry nobody wasn't there for you. I'm sorry nobody didn't love you. but I love you, and we're gonna be okay. And I had to write in my diary to my wound, like, Courtney, I don't know if you know this, or a lot of women out there, is this book I read called Sacred Woman. And I had to write a letter to my wound, my vagina, and say, I know I let a lot of men inside you, and a lot of men took advantage of you. I apologize for that and all that. And I had to really love myself. And once I loved myself, did the whole spiritual bath, and I had to fast for 15 days. I had to be disciplined. I couldn't talk or say things, be anger, no matter what everybody throw at me, negativity. I had to really bite my tongue and be disciplined. And I had to change the way what I eat, and I had to change what I watched on TV. I couldn't watch anything negative during this spiritual journey that I was on, so I can heal correctly and love myself correctly, and so I won't hurt other people.
Okay. That's a whole lot.
Mhm.
That's a journey. Like, I mean, I couldn't even imagine sitting down writing a letter like that. Yeah. Listen.
I got that part in the book. I got the audio book. Found time to do my healing journey, and I know I need to. But that is a good ass book. Now it is. It gets
Okay.
if you, yeah.
And I don't know about white people, but I know black folks, we be hiding some, it's cousins, right? Like, and you didn't put that, you say, my cousin, whatever. And that happens in a lot of places. I mean, in a lot of families. And
That's
it
what
is
taught
a
me.
lot of times, swept under the rug. Go ahead, Rail.
No, I was gonna say that's just the shit that happened to me as a kid from cousins or from a cousin. That's why as an adult and when I start having children, I told people, watch adults around your children, but watch children around your children even more so, because that's what it be, and you never know what other kids are exposed to.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's one of the things where I see people, and I don't want to get too far away from our conversation, but like this is what it often branches off into when we talk about trauma. A lot of times the kids start expressing, well, mommy, I like girls, or little boys say I like other boys, and they're like 6 or 7 years old. People say, what, you ain't gonna be gay? Or they're gonna say, okay, well, you want to be gay, you're gay, instead of saying, well, wait a minute, why are you expressing sexual preference or orientation? You don't even know what it is yet. Like, so what have you seen? Who have you been around? And a lot of times when you talk to people who've had this kind of problems, these blurring these lines, they say, well, I was touched somewhere, or I was assaulted somewhere. I'm not saying that's the only way you can be gay, but a lot of gay people say that. Like, I was done pretty dirty by my uncle. He used to do this, that, and the third to me. So it's a very important conversation. And if you were wondering why, come on, Kev, get to the lady in Alabama. We'll get to that. But we always got to make some sense of it first, because as a people, we are irritated. And as a people, we do need healing. Yeah. And Kamar and I done a show years ago. I always bring this up because it was one of the more interesting shows that we ever did. It was called Buck Naked. And the show was about dealing with vulnerability. And how most of us, that is the last thing you ever want to feel is vulnerability. You do not want to be vulnerable, to the point where some of us won't go to the doctor because we don't want to get naked in front of the doctor, right? And so nobody wants to be vulnerable. And it was also about dealing with fear, like dealing with, and it went along the lines of drama, but we talked about dealing with fear. And on that show, we talked about being a victim and getting to the point where you explain to yourself that it's not your fault you were victimized. If people say we want to give victim support services, so you think the victims need help, but the victimizers are the one who really need the help.
Yes.
Right? Because if you're a victim, it's not your fault. It's like a girl saying, well, I got raped, but I shouldn't have had on a short skirt. No, dude shouldn't be raping people. Right? Like, and so we often think, oh, woe is me, instead of saying, oh, that sorry piece of shit. He's the one who really needs help. So this conversation is very, very important in our community. So I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad you have undergone this journey. I want to get more into your book. I want to catch my chat room up. Mama Jenkins, she said, I had a lot of trauma in my life, but I found out after the death of my son that you have to develop your personal relationship with God your spiritual beliefs. She said, is your feelings. I'm a preacher's daughter, and in our house we worship and praise, but we also was taught that silence is golden, meaning take time to think and be quiet and listen. I find abundance of peace in meditation. Okay. Shout out to Mama Jenkins. I'm a PK as well. So, anything that ever happened, my father said, take it to the Lord. Take it to the Lord. You better go in there and get down on your knees. And my family, the food got cold. When we had a family gathering, the food got cold because so many people had to pray over the food. I was one of them little boys sitting there holding my cousin's hand saying, this is some bullshit. Come on, man. Can we eat? But they all and Lord, and thank you for bringing us out of the molehills of Mississippi, and stocking our storehouse. I'm sitting there like, come on, man. But I understand it more now. Those older people came through something. They were giving it up, saying, man, we was in a one-room cabin, man, like living subterranean conditions. Ruben Anderson said the human brain can process 11 million bits of information every second, but our conscious mind can handle only 40 to 50 bits of information a second. It would be impossible for one to empty their mind. Okay. I hear you. So I guess once again, I guess I was a little bit misinformed because I could have swore somebody when I don't know who it was that was telling me about meditation, and they were saying you have to work on completely emptying your mind. And I know I was told this. I didn't make it up.
Hey, Kev. Well, see, that's the whole Western conception of meditation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Here, you know what I mean? They feel like meditation is just about finding peace, but it's about way more than that. You know what I mean? Like I say, we got personality traits, we got traumas we trying to heal from, and you know what I mean? And meditation is a way to do it. And here in the Western culture, they didn't understand that when they took up that piece of it. They left a lot of that information back with us.
Okay. Sean says, I think I got baggage. Listen, I don't know how once you get to a certain age, you have to have baggage, right? I used to call it my backpack, right? Like when I'm knee deep in bullshit, when it's a lot going on and I'm stressed out, I say I got to empty my backpack, meaning I don't want this weight on my back, because stress, that's what it becomes. It's like carrying around extra weight on your back. And so every day, everything you do is it takes more labor to do it. It feels like it takes more effort, more labor to do it. Something as simple as just walking in the house is like, well, all of a sudden I'm getting to this door and I'm feeling like I don't want to go in here. So to me, and that's just my method, and y'all probably would tell me that this is meditation. A lot of the thinking, the most critical thinking that I do, I'm sitting by myself. If I'm in especially in the summer, right? Like, cause I'm one of them garage dudes. Like my spot is my garage. And in the summer, to me, there's nothing better than a thunderstorm. And I love to be outside in my garage during a thunderstorm. I can go through any problem that I'm having and get like, it's just my brain is just going. And so, some people might think that's weird, but I think if a lot more of us did that, if we centered ourselves and said, let me look at what's going on, right? I think we would be better as a community. Right now, with all the issues we have in Milwaukee, I know some people need to take some deep breaths and say, hold on, it ain't that serious, right? And I'm gonna tell a story about that. Because this is funny. This is actually a funny story, y'all. But Jesse in the chat room, he says the show was crazy last night. We had a gang of people on there, including our blog talk radio show nemesis, Joe Gibson from North Carolina, who is in denial. He's a tether anchor baby. The tether Negroes. Oh my goodness. We haven't even really discussed it from an FBA perspective. We haven't discussed tether Negroes yet on this show, y'all. We're gonna get into it because there's principalities of being a foundational Black American. I don't know if people know this, but it's actually a thing. There's some principles you have to understand. We're gonna do a show on that. He said post-traumatic slave syndrome, Dr. Joy DeGrew. Mama Jenkins says everybody pray, but look at where we are today on this journey. Yeah. You know what? My mom used to always, my mother was like one of the most cynical people ever, right? And when we would go to church, there were certain things she didn't like. She didn't like people getting up testifying. She would say she called it testifying. Did you hear so and so was there testifying? She wasn't doing nothing but lying. right? But another thing she used to say is, I don't ask everybody to pray for me. I don't ask for everybody to put their mouth on me praying for me, because I don't know what that person, I don't know what their relationship is. They might be Satan in disguise, and they'll say they praying for you. They might be asking Satan to do something bad to you. So I'm very careful about who I ask to pray for me. As you know, we leave church, everybody say, pray for me. And my mother would leave and be like, yeah, you notice I didn't say pray for me back. I don't want her prayers. Like, damn, mom, you angry right after church. She was like, I don't want that bitch praying for me. Like, damn, my father's just driving like, Lord have mercy.
Hey, that's some real shit though. Cause see, in the spiritual culture, we talk about the ancestors, calling on our ancestors and stuff. And I always say, man, watch which ancestors you call on, because all your ancestors didn't mean you well when they was alive. What make you think they're gonna mean you well now?
Yeah, man. Dealing with spirits, man. And that's way next level for people. People can't really even comprehend that, man. You want to scare some black people, start talking about that. I know growing up, you start talking about revelations, I was up. I was not finna sit and have that conversation with you. Like, nah, I'm sleepy. I'm going to bed. But no, I was talking about energy, and I was talking about us like really being poor with our conflict resolution, because I decided that I wanted to get something to eat last Friday. And I said, where am I gonna go? Because there's not a whole lot of cooking going on around here in the summer, right? Like, my wife is like, it's hot. I'm not gonna be over no stove, right? Most of the time it's me grilling. But so we eat restaurant food a lot. And so I'm trying to find somewhere. I wanted to go somewhere black owned. I should have went to Yum Yums over on Hampton, but I was further up. And I didn't know Hampton has become Burleigh. I didn't know Hampton was just thugged the fuck out. I didn't know it was slummed up. Like, I mean, everywhere I look, it's just these horrible kind of like people. I'm gonna call them horrible people. I'm at the gas station. The dude's in the car arguing with his girl because she said, "Could you pump my gas?" And I'm like, "This is just me. I'm gonna get some gas." I'm hearing him and her going at it. I gotta keep my one eye open. Like, hey, let me make sure I can get my ass out the way if something go down. And he's saying to her, that I guess she said, "Could you pump the gas?" He said, "No, pump your own damn gas." She's like, well, you in the car with me. Why would I pump gas? I'm a lady. I'm a woman, and I got a man with me. It was like, I don't give a damn about that shit. You drive all the time without me. Who pump your gas when I ain't here? So I was like, oh, that was interesting. Went down to a seafood place that's, me with my never-ending thirst for foolishness. I go to the Seafood Connection, which is on 60th, I believe, in Fond du Lac in Hampton. And it's attached to a gas station, right? So I'm slumming.
What the hell,
But, I mean, sometimes the hood in me come out. I want to get away from
You sure pick the right places to go to.
You see, I'm trying to picture it. I'm like, where the Seafood Connection?
Seafood Junction, Seafood Connection, some shit like that.
Hey, we know he don't get out much, right? We know he don't get out much.
Oh,
he get a pass. He don't get out much.
Old
he thought he was
mon frere
too at the Seafood Connection.
Nah, I wanted something different, man. Like, I'm just okay. Moral of the story is, the sisters in this store, I am just in disbelief at their level of ratchetness. And it's, one girl comes in, one leaves, the other three, yeah, that bitch, we'll beat that bitch ass, we'll drag this bitch. What's she looking at us for? This bitch, this hoe, this slut. And there's three little girls that's with them. That's just kind of standing there soaking it all up. I'm looking, and this is a judgmental zone. I'm looking at how the young ladies are dressed, the young girls, and then to top it all off, here's a young brother in here who's, man, please, she didn't want no drama. I ought to knock that bitch out. Bruh, what you got to do with it? Why you in the women's stuff? And so customer after customer who came in, it was just this super hood, ghetto, nasty, savage mentality. I felt dirty. I felt like somebody had threw a bunch of like pig pen off peanuts and shit. I felt like him because I just absorbed so much of this negative energy. And I was like, damn, I'm old enough to remember when it was still a whole bunch of white people on Hampton. So I didn't know it was that thugged out. The food actually wasn't bad from the place, right? It actually wasn't bad. Probably won't be going there again. but it wasn't bad, right? And because it's not black owned, I'll just go further down and go to Yum Yum if I want to get some fish or whatever. So that was my little story about the energy that I pick up on in the community, and that's what I mean about irritated. Have you ever noticed people in Milwaukee just look irritated? If you drive
This the
down the
shit,
street,
hey, and this the shit I'm here. All this shit, this ratchet behavior and shit is the shit I'm irritated with. You know what I
okay,
mean? And we keep giving motherfuckers passes and shit for being like that, talking about they free. Let this young person have his own mind. And oh no, man, that ain't the way shit go. Old folks talk to young folks for a reason. You know what I mean? We teach them for a reason. You know what I mean? And it's just a whole bunch of pacifying in our community for this bullshit.
I feel like you kind of taking a shot at me a little bit, but I ain't gonna personalize it. I feel like you kind of bringing some from the last show.
I'm sorry to you about what?
Because I said I'm the one who said people are
About the
free.
last show.
People are free to express themselves. He kind of quoted me without quoting me, because I said let people be free and let.
Oh, I know. Why didn't? Hey, look. Hey, Kev, you did say that, but I promise I didn't have you in mind when I said that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But that just goes to show what I'm saying about how many people say it. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't even thinking about you when I said that. You did what I'm saying.
Expressing yourself is one thing.
That's the shit that we do, and that's the shit that we give. Even with the women, you know what I mean? Like how women dress how they want to dress, and they could act like this if they want to, but that shit ratchet.
But some people like it though.
When niggas do shit, like it should be ratchet. We be giving niggas passes too. You know what I mean? And I'm irritated with all that shit. And that's why I feel like we getting worse, because we keep giving fucking passes.
True.
I don't know.
Stop
Rail
it.
Put up
we were talking about, like you got a son,
Rail put up a blues song from the 30s.
Talk to your son and tell him where he wrong.
Rail put up a blues song from the 30s that was horrendous. Then Courtney followed up in our personal group, our word mob group. Rail put up a blues song from the 30s that was dirtier than anything any of them have said. And then Courtney found the footage of Millie Jackson running through the crowd grabbing men's penises. And these are our elders, our great elders in some case. So we'll get to that conversation. We'll finish up since you came at, you wanted to see my kung fu. We'll get back to that.
Hey, Kev. Kev. If you feel like it was to you, I'll say it again before I take it back.
There you go.
What about
there you go. Yeah. Shots fired. I got you.
You know, I ain't got no problem with telling nobody nothing, man.
Right. It's funny because that's the way it's always set off. We gonna get to it. I'm trying to act like we got company. It's like my mom used to say, now you know we got company and you gonna show your ass. It's all good. I'm trying to leave a good impression. We'll be back. I'm gonna get back at you, my brother. I promise. Mama Jenkins, she said most of your problems is that we don't breathe properly. You inhale and exhale. She said, KB, my parents told us to pray for ourselves and by all means keep those jack-legged preachers from putting hands on you. Erica Hunt, what up? What up? She said, what up, Outlaws? How you doing, my sister?
Hey.
Let me see. He said, I saw one of my reels shaking up dust early. Yeah, because you put Suki right back on us with some of her comments. I'm gonna get to that. That's what I'm saying. We gonna wait. We got a guest here. We're trying to be on our best behavior. I still got my school clothes on. Y'all gotta wait for me to put my play clothes on. You remember you say you better take them off and put your play pants on. My wife get at me all the time because I'll be like, these play pants. She'd be like, dude, you too old to have play pants. But that's what we used to call it when I was little. You came home, you had to take your school clothes off and put your play clothes on.
Right.
Ewok says freedom of expression doesn't equal freedom to be on bullshit. Okay. We're gonna get to that. Dion, what's popping with you?
Hey, what's up, Mac and man? You understand? Hey, what I was about to say, I was just listening to my nigga K Bull, man, right? Now, Kev, I'm gonna tell you this, right? Yum ain't no good. That shit garbage. And wherever you want to see food connects, because I was just at that gas station the other day, a nigga damn near ran me over, and I wanted to be like, damn, bro, you don't see. See, I told you the other day I got an F on my report card, and I can't have that big hammer on me, and that would have been ugly. You know, I been had a big hammer on me, I would have knocked that nigga block off if he would have said something. But anyway, though, man, listen, Bull was like, me myself personally, bro, I don't give a fuck what nobody do. I can see a motherfucker slap the shit out of a woman, and I'm not intervening with none of that shit. I don't care. I try to mind my own business. You know, like I know what bro's saying, though. I know what bro's saying. We get motherfuckers like sometimes, you know what I'm saying? If I see a motherfucker and I see him on bullshit, I try to pull his coattail like player, like, hey, I be like, hey, playboy, you don't need to be going through that, man. You know, nigga be in the penitentiary, man. You out here riding thorns, man. You know, you represent good, man. You ain't gotta stoop to no other nigga level. You know what I'm saying? To calm him down, to stroke his ego, to calm him down. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times you just can't go out here and intervene in something that you see might be going on because you want to be a good Samaritan and you feel like, because I do believe in what bro's saying, because I feel like if somebody, because they always tell you, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, but it's an explanation and a reason why. I'm at the age now, if I tell you don't do something, I'm going to break everything down that what might happen to you, and there's going to be the outcome of it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of time our elders just tell us, they'll be like, don't do this. Well, why? Don't do this. But why? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be having sex. Well, if you have sex at now you 15 years old and a papa, you know? Because my daughter will be 30. I'm 45, and I do the math on that. You know what I'm saying? I'll be 45 on that. I knew how to get the coochie, but I knew how to control what came up out of me. You understand what I'm saying? So I definitely understand what what he said, but it just ain't the day and age where we can always intervene and try to give somebody that knowledge, because we are elders, and I do understand about that wisdom that we have, because if I could prevent you, that's just like right now I'm going down 41. I'm headed back to Grafton, going down 41. But I can tell you, bro, go down 45. I can tell Rail go down Highway 26. But I can tell K Bull take 151 to 43. We all take a different route, and we gonna make it there. We gonna get there, but we all take a different route. You understand what I'm saying? So I definitely understand the part about being knowledgeable. But in this day and age, you know what I'm saying? We just can't go butting into people's business and be like woo out the bam. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely respect bro on that. We do need to stop giving people passes, but I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna give a nigga a pass every time, because I really don't care about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. You know, I don't. You know, just like today, we ain't supposed to spend no money. Guess what I did? I spent $500. I ain't forgot about on Wednesdays when we ain't supposed to spend no money, but it was something that I needed. I needed a repair done, so I had.
Wait, who declared? Who said we weren't supposed to spend no money today?
Right.
I thought you said it last week.
Well, I didn't know that's what we was doing. It was a concept. We can.
But you know what, though, bro? It ain't got to be doing, but we can start doing self-discipline on ourselves. Because I definitely need to be disciplined, because in the last month, I spent damn near about $900 to $1,000 just on gym shoes, just to take them and put them in the room. So if I do decide to get fitted or jump out of town, but guess what? What hurt me today is when I had to spend that $100. I can't take them gym shoes in there and give it to that white man and be like, here, I got these Jordans, got these such and such. He ain't going for that. He wants that $543.39. That's exactly what I gave him. You feel what I'm saying?
I always love how Dion flexes on poor people, but he endorses, he big ups them at the same time. Like, I feel for my people in the ghetto, but I just spent $9,000 on some shoes. So,
bro, listen, bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck, my guy. I ain't never struggled, and the creator made sure of that. Even when I was out here selling drugs, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't. You know what I'm saying? So now that I'm doing what's right, I see life a little bit better. I got 2 jobs. I drive a truck full time, and I work at the school passing out lunches. I'm a lunch lady. You know what I'm saying? School start back in September. I'm gonna be at school every day. You know, bam, bam, bam. Get my little money. Go on to the truck driving job. You know what I'm saying? Because I gotta maintain though. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain lifestyle that you gotta maintain. So you gotta work for it though. But I'm gonna hop offline though. I'm gonna catch y'all on YouTube, man. I love all y'all. I ain't get a chance to get the new lady name, but hey, Miss Ma'am, how you doing? I know I sound like I'm handsome, and I am though. You know what I'm saying? What's up, real? Hey, Courtney. Hey, Courtney, don't tell that. Don't be like that nigga don't care what's the name saying he handsome and shit. I'm just saying though. All right, bull, and I can't wait to the soft opening. August the 5th, because I want to be there, shake hands with my guys, and we ain't got to be on this old line no more. I can see you niggas face to face and show y'all some love. And breaker, 1, 2, I'm gone.
Hey,
Shout out
Kev,
to
you know what
Dion,
though?
man. Shout out to
Hey,
Dion,
I
man.
think
Shout out to Dion.
I think we need that. Hey, I think we need that in the community too. You know what I mean? Like you see how he talk about what's going on, like with poor folk, but then he also get a chance to talk about how good he doing. I think we need that shit in the community too, man. Like people need to know, like you got to get up and do something if you want something. You know what I mean? We need some people to jack on them. I mean, shit.
Well,
That's what's going on out here with the deep boys and shit.
it's
You know what I mean? Little kids growing up watching the deep boy. They in the hood jacking on. Like, how about doing something good and let's do some jacking on that?
that's the reason why
He's driving the truck. He got
rocks
these
with the
jobs.
show,
He get
though.
the jack about how good he got it. And
There's a
yeah,
reason why he
I know. I'm just saying.
resonates with the
I'm saying
show.
I appreciate.
Right. No, it's a reason. It's a
I
reason
get it.
why.
I'm saying
That's
I
why I
appreciate how he
always say I
kick it
always
like
love
that.
his opinion because it's the story. It's the story of a journey. Like my sister, who is our guest, and it's like y'all forgot y'all got company. But we it's his story is a journey of someone who's transitioned from one life into another. Don't be fooled, right? Don't just hear the okay, dude sound like he off the block, but there's a lot there if you listen to it. So that's why I rock with
He's
Dion.
supposed to check that shit.
So we got Sean Moore on the line. Sean, what's popping, Sean?
What's going on?
Hey,
Well,
Sean.
hey, Courtney,
Hey.
Professor, Doctor, KB. Hey, hey, sister. I'm trying to remember what I wanted to say. You had me on hold for like 5 minutes.
Well, you actually weren't. You wasn't on hold. You wasn't on hold. Y'all was
Well,
on at
whatever.
the same time.
Okay, I was listening to it, which so
All
really like tangle my thoughts. You know, I'm 56. I smoke a lot of weed, man. Been through a lot of time.
I don't understand how it's my fault because you can't remember
remember
what you was finna say. Well, you should just
what
you
was
had
we talking
yourself
about?
on hold. Nothing.
What was
According
we
to
talking
you,
about, man?
why don't you tell us what we was talking about, genius? You tell us.
What
Right?
are we talking about,
Don't
Courtney?
call up here trying to indict my character. Like, what? It was on hold. It was somebody else talking. What do you want me to do? I don't understand. Oh man, it's Kamar taking shots. It's John Moore over here.
I think
Man,
what did Kamar just say?
right, you tell me. Since you smoke so much weed, you tell me.
Oh shit! You
Cheech
the
and
host, you
Chong.
don't know.
Right. Oh, good deflection. You the host.
the
You
host,
don't know,
though.
right?
You supposed to bring it back.
Oh my goodness. What do you want, Sean Moore?
What you just said, Kamar?
He said, "What do you want?" He said, "What you got
That
to
ain't what
say?"
he said. We was talking about something, man. I forgot.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
let us know when you remember. So I want to get back to
Yeah,
trauma.
right.
I want to get back to trauma with my sister. She like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah, this is why it's Outlaw Radio. It's a lot of unsavory characters out there who like to take swings at the throne. But no, so
I'm still on the phone.
I know you are. I'm not saying it behind your back. Like what the fuck?
Okay.
I want to get back to your documentary because I think it's very interesting that this book has become a documentary. So how did it? I know you said you talked about the guy who was shooting it, but how did you get into that? How did somebody say that? Let's put this on screen.
I thought of it. To be honest, to be honest and honest, I thought of it. I was just thinking like, okay, the book gives you tips of how to heal, and it gives you a little background about how trauma is transferred and all that. But why don't I, connect with people that could tell their own story and to share with everybody that they can relate to, and they can hear that, hey, they've been through this and they can overcome anything. And when I visualized it, I was like, why not? I love poetry. Why not throw poetry in it? A person tell their story, then another poem hits it that introduce the next person, and then there you have it. The documentary was born.
Now, is this vignettes? Is this like, because I know Courtney said she's in it. Is it a collection of interviews, or how do you present it?
It's a collection of interviews, but it's a little different.
Okay.
The poetry, the poems from individuals, it tells the story of itself. And when it tells the story of it, it shows about Black men and what they've been through, trauma and, police brutality and how that affects a person been in jail. And and the poems it speaks so much volumes when it introduced everybody's story and how it comes together.
Okay. And like I said, we as a people carry around a whole bunch of stress, and we've all been through something. And I don't think, I think I know for a fact it's not just exclusive to Black people. Like, because everybody deals with stress, right? Like, people think white ice is colder. And you'd be surprised to find out what a lot of them are dealing with. I know I love to go to the lakefront and look at these palatial estates, and people will say, well, man, I wish I lived in that house. I wish that was my life or whatever. But you don't know what those people who live in them homes deal with. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what's behind the facade, right? Like, so a lot of times them old folks say, thank God I don't look like what I've been through, right? Because you spend a lot of time in life getting beat down by life. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Like, it's a lot of situations in life that you're gonna have to learn how to just deal with. And we don't always, nobody has a 100% effective way of dealing with it. Right? We all try to, from even just self-medicating. Some people just hide in the bottle, or they hide in a joint or a blunt or a pipe. All right, right. So a lot of times chemical dependency, all of that stuff is kind of connected there. I notice in children, they manifest a lot of this stuff through their behavior. As a former special education teacher, I saw a lot of kids who were just ridiculous in the classroom. And I'd be like, what the hell is wrong with this little boy? And come to find out, when I examined his home situation, it was like, wow, I kind of see why because that's his mechanism is to, okay, when I get to school, anybody say anything I don't like, I'm just out loud with it. So I always enjoy having conversations with people who talk about how they've overcome their own personal struggles. And if it's somebody who's decide to write a book or produce a documentary, it's actually a great thing. I know Rail has given his story similar a lot of times to this, when he says going through his divorce and really trying to come to terms with the fact that, hey, I thought I was doing the right thing. I had a family. I was trying my best to be a stand-up cat, and it just fell through. And it was on me to figure out, that how this process occurred. And I wanted to stop feeling sorry for myself. That's what I wanted to stop doing. I wanted to stop wallowing in it. So I started doing other stuff. I started going out. I started kicking it. I was all up in the bar all of a sudden. I'm partying. And that still didn't really help me deal with it. It wasn't until I turned my eyesight inward and said, let me deal with the core. Let me start right here. And that's, I'm telling real story like he ain't on the show, but he he talks about that. That's what I'm saying. This is a conversation we have. I don't know about other platforms, because if you look at Black people in our community, you say, what the hell is wrong with it? 2 5-year-olds have been shot. Up to this point, 103 juveniles have been shot. 11 of them are dead. 103 juveniles. I don't know how many babies and 5-year-olds. We had a period where 4 or 5-year-old was shot every day for about a week. And so we had the situation where the brother shot in the car because of an argument or whatever, and hit the 1-year-old and killed him. So, it's spilling over now to the point where, all right, babies dying. Babies are getting killed. So I know that people expect for our leaders to do something, but we like to talk about what we can do for ourselves, because it ain't looking like we're gonna get no real help from them no time soon. Mama Jenkins in the chat room, she says in her book, is there any section in it about a child that has been affected by trauma when losing a parent to homicide?
No, it's not. But I'm happy she asked that question, because I am coming up with a teacher reached out to me. She's an MPS teacher, and she wanted me to create a curriculum about how can kids cope with things like that and deal with their emotions and deal with different types of trauma when it comes to either at home or homicide. So I am coming up with things like that in a little short book to give guidance.
Okay. Thank you, Mama Jenkins, for that question. Who else is featured in your documentary? We know you got the great Juice Lady and all of her expertise, but who else do you have in there?
Right.
We have Deshaun Ewan. He's do poetry. Carmine Nixon. I know a lot of people know him. Ed Hennings. Oh,
Okay.
he talks about freeing his mind. Alana Parker from Earth Angel Studio. Check her out at Sherman Phoenix. Ambra Pullman. She's a public speaker. She does a lot of stuff with helping people. She's a life coach. She's a good woman. The list goes. Rose, shout out to her. She do art organization for children to help them with therapy. And Latanya Diggins, she's also a poet.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen Kwabena. I've seen him, speak to kids before, so I'm very familiar with what he does. But those names all sound familiar in the fact that I've seen a lot of their stories. A lot of them, their interactions with the community. I've seen it. So looks like it's going to be big. How to fix a broken rose in America. Did I get it right? Because I will mess it up.
The secrets of how to heal the broken roses in America.
I still messed it up. Okay, I'm remedial.
Yeah.
Sound like you want to get hung up on again, Sean. I'm
Oh, my bad.
all right.
I thought I was on mute. My bad.
No. I can mute you. You want me to? I can make sure
No,
you're muted.
I got it.
Okay. I can
I
make
got
sure.
it on my end.
Okay. So it's Outlaw Radio irritated, Sean, on a Wednesday night, and we got a guest here. She has a book and a documentary on dealing with trauma. It's about dealing with trauma. Courtney Francois is a part of the documentary. Shout out to Courtney for inviting you to the show. I always tell everybody, if you got somebody who's doing something positive or progressive, bring them on in, and we will get them on so we can push some positivity back into the environment or into the atmosphere. Mama Jenkins says, ask her to get in touch with me, please, related to police shootings and children of these victims. Mama Jenkins has some insight on the trauma left behind when you lose someone like that, and the children. So Mama Jenkins, is there any way you can put your not Mama Jenkins, but my sister, can you put your social media stuff? Can we get that somehow? I don't know if you can put it in the chat room, or I don't know, because I want people to be able to get in touch, especially if they want to see the documentary or get the book. You might be able to make a little change, right? Right. I don't know if you got a Cash App or what, but we definitely want people to get access to the information. I want to. It's a rough transition, but I do have to touch on this because this is something that's, I don't know what's going on down in Alabama with the sister Carissa. We talked about the parallels of this being similar to Tawana Brawley. But this is looking very strange, right? Like there's a press conference in which the police officers say that her search history in her phone had some stuff about how to take money from a cash register and not get caught. Is there a charge for filing a fake Amber Alert, and like the movie Taken and all this kind of stuff? So I still don't know what the ulterior motives here are, and I want somebody, if you're out there and please let me know, update me, because they still haven't located, they still haven't found the baby, this baby that was supposedly out there. There's footage of her.
Did anybody file for a missing baby? Did anybody say a baby was missing?
There is not. I haven't seen anything about the baby. Like this, just like
she said it was the dude's baby that grabbed her and threw her in the back of the semi that she escaped out of before she got put in the car and was blindfolded but wasn't handcuffed so that she could escape again. Because they didn't want to leave nothing on her wrist.
Okay. Yeah, we talk about how many black people, how many black women in particular are missing, and they go missing, and people that they never heard from again, and so as soon as this popped off, everybody was like, man, we got to find this sister, and this just has turned into a complete crazy episode of Unsolved Mysteries in the making. Like, I don't know.
I almost feel like she's trying to gain clout or get some kind of attention. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's very irritating.
Ain't don't shit the whole thing, man.
Okay. I just put the link up for the sister. So if you want to get the book, you want to link up with her on Facebook, All y'all got to do is copy and paste it. And you can get in touch with her. Buy the book, man. Buy the book. Buy the book. Go see the documentary. Because we got to review Courtney's performance and be like, stick to your day job if she suck, right?
I'm being y'all love me as I am, so y'all gonna be like, man, you need to go be in a Tubi movie or something. I already know what y'all gonna say. Y'all don't want me to do more.
Okay. So the Tubi movie where I'm the bad guy and Courtney's in it, right? Like, because I'm gonna get in one of these Tubi movies as a bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Swift, though, brothers making these Milwaukee movies on Tubi, man. Y'all don't got to keep bringing Jamal Willard in to do the movies. I can be the worst bad guy you've ever seen on a movie. I guarantee you will hate me more than you do now after you see me in the movie. I'll be just despicable, right? Like, it'll be crazy. Dion said she was lying like a motherfucker. He said she has mental health issues. He said Black women are the most abducted people who are not found alive. Let me see. Mama Jenkins said, what about the young man in
Hey,
Korea?
I got a question.
Okay.
I got another question. Like you know how women be wearing all this makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching on the news, like every picture they showed her face when she was supposedly missing, right? She had all this makeup on, and I'm like, that ain't even how she really looked. Like by now, she shouldn't have no makeup on, and we don't even know what she looked like.
Okay.
That was the funny part when her parents were trying to describe her. They was like, she don't have her wig on, so she don't look like. And that need to be.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, how the fuck we supposed to find her?
Right. So even though this shit,
how the fuck we supposed to find her? What do you know what she look like?
Hopefully, it's a message to other women that every once in a while you may want to let the public see how you really fucking look. Because if you always coming out in wigs and face beat to the gods and shit, and you out here really looking like Miss Seeley, we ain't gonna know who the fuck to look for.
Right.
Oh my goodness. She said looking like Miss Seeley, right? Is she the poster child for ugly women? I mean, shout out to Whoopi Goldberg, right?
He said she sure is ugly. That's what she is.
Right.
You sure is ugly.
You sure is ugly, right? Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, I don't want to turn this into black women. Listen, there's a reason why we spend so much money in terms of consumer products because we buy more hair stuff. Our women have more skin creams and a lot of this, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of this is centered around the fact that some of us don't love ourselves how we naturally look. So you want to lighten your skin, you want to make your lips look fuller, you want to contour your nose. Hey, you bald headed, but you want to have hair to your butt. All these kinds of things. And it's not just women because it's brothers with more spray paint in their head right now than your average graffiti in the hood, right? Brothers are getting sprayed up. And then you walk around 40 plus and you ain't got one gray hair. Come on, son. Like, come on, no, man. Where did you grow up? Disneyland? Like that don't happen.
And what you trying to hide it for? You trying to get you a young girl?
Right.
They trying to hide that
trying to get you a young girl. Get out of here.
I mean, I think people need to know that there's some young women who prefer older men and they actually like the salt and pepper.
Right.
So I don't think you really, in order to get, because when you come at her or her friends fronting and you got the hair dye on, they're laughing at you for that. Like, his ass too old. You walk around with that shit on. Like, his ass, he look like a pedophile. So sometimes just
give it up. Nigga, give it up.
Right. Come on, man. I know you got some money, right? Come on, buy me a drink. I used to call them professional drink buyers. They used to be at 502. This when I used to go out. I used to go to 502, right? And everybody be down there, and I loved 502. It was always a great vibe. Grown people. You get in there, everybody got they fit on, and then you look to the bar, and there's just a row of dudes with full Johnny Walker suits, right? Like down to the socks, and they was the dudes who was buying all the pretty girls' drinks. So any woman in there that you would talk to would be like, well, that's my friend. He be mad. Mr. Charlie be mad. Like, yeah, boy, you be like, if you don't shut your old ass up, man, you better keep buying her drinks. Man. I think you're talking to my friend. Man, you driving a van.
You try to talk to her, he pull up and ask her, you okay? You okay,
Right.
baby?
You want another one? That's your daddy? Like, right? He could be, right? Dion says he says her nigga was cheating and she wanted to get his attention, so she faked her abduction. Is that what it was, Dion?
That not be it.
Damn,
I remember
that's a movie, ain't it? That Gone Girl movie or some shit like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
See,
right?
Gone Girl, she was mad that her nigga was cheating, so she like faked her death or some shit, all kinds of crazy stuff.
I've never seen it. I never
That was a
seen
good
it.
movie with Ben Affleck. That was a good ass movie, kid.
Yeah.
You watching white folks movies.
Right. Well, Kamar said I don't get out the house much, so apparently I don't even know what a movie theater is. Right. I'm still watching silent movies and shit.
I mean,
according
was
to him.
old, Kev. It's a couple years old. Find it on your Amazon Prime
He
or
said he don't get out
That's on
much.
TV.
Right. Pew, pew, pew,
It's just fucked up that it's rare that black women abductions get the media shine that it deserve. So the time that it do, it's a lady who may just be shit crazy as hell and irresponsible.
Right.
It seems like in a time such as today, and my sister, you talked about, leaving your relationship with your child's father.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like if anything that's really off today is individuals' ability to really navigate relationships, like especially young black men and black women. Like it's like, they either the selection process is bad and I always attribute this to the fact that the personal part of meeting someone is gone, right? I would never want to have to go on a date nap to find somebody. Now, this is just my personal preference. To me, face-to-face conversation, looking into the eyes, looking at nonverbal communication, demeanor, that kind of thing, stature, not status, but stature, just being able to visually take somebody in as I'm speaking to them is the most effective way. And so I'm like, brothers say, well, it's hard to find somebody. You got to go on the website. I'll go on christianmingle.com or whatever. And I just feel like all you really need to do is go to Walmart or go to the grocery store, because that's where you find people in their natural kind of, I ain't all done up, dolled up for the club. I ain't looking like total trash, although some people do look like hot garbage when they out. But more often than not, you're going to find meeting people easier and more. There's more of a connection when you in them places. If I go to a bar looking to meet somebody to be in a relationship with, I'm probably not going to find them. But if I'm assertive and aware and pick and save, and I'm in the produce section looking around, and whoa, look at over there by the tomatoes. I mean, it just seems like a more natural progression to me. But people picked all the wrong situations. And I don't like to reinforce all the stereotypes, because I know all people ain't bad, but it's always, oh nigga, you living with this girl and you living off of her and playing PlayStation and sleeping on her couch and all that. Sometimes it's reverse. Sometimes a man got a woman live with him who's a whole bum, who she's not doing nothing but getting her lashes done and smoking weed all day. And so I just feel like our relationships are very, very negative. So you already traumatized, you're already kind of deprived of certain things in life, and then you get in a relationship with somebody and it's like a codependent relationship. So is that one of the issues that you were having with your relationship? I don't know. Was it domestic violence? What was it that you said, I need to get away from this situation?
My relationship with my son's father, it was, it was he's Caucasian first. And we had to deal with, certain racism in our relationship. And then not only that, when he dealt with cancer, nobody never told me that when after they get done with the medication that people do get violent. And I felt that he was just too dealing with him being violent. Him just was like, since I'm doing chemo radiation, I feel fine. He would go out and drink and black out, don't remember what he said. So it was kind of a little bit of domestic violence that was going on. And not just domestic violence that was going on. I had to deal with him, the ups and downs, the 1 minute he was very suicidal, things like that. And I just felt like I was not prepared for this, and I don't want our child to be around this. I grew up in this type of environment. I just did not want to continue the relationship anymore.
Okay. So it triggered some of the past trauma that you had, already dealt with, that you had kind of
Yes.
felt like I've moved on from it, but this relationship is taking me right back there.
Yes.
Okay. And that's sometimes the problem is when you try to explain, and this is why it's tricky as a friend to talk to your friend about their relationship. One thing I've learned, and so in my 22 years of marriage, right? One thing I've learned is that when brothers who are married or in a relationship and we're friends and they come to talk to me about what's going on, they're venting. They don't need for me to give them a strategy. They don't need for me to say you should leave that bitch or nothing like that. They just want me to listen. They just want me to just listen, just hear me out, hear my frustrations. And you don't ever want to be the friend that's gonna say, unless it's like really somebody beating you down and say, man, you need to get away from her. You always want to be a shoulder for your friends. So if you out there listening and you say, well, when my friends come to me and talk to me, how should I? Don't be the oracle. Don't have the answer for everything.
Yeah.
Don't act like you know everything. And if you ain't got nobody, please don't give advice at all. I find that people who ain't in relationships know the most about the relationships. Like people who ain't got nobody can tell you exactly what to do. If I was you, well, you're not, and you're also alone, right? Like so, I'm just like, as a friend, be aware, because we had Samantha Collier on here who's Team Teal, and she deals with sexual harassment, sexual assault victims. And we had this kind of like this same conversation of how to deal with somebody who's abusing you, and how to have the courage to say, I got to get away from this person, because I love myself and I don't deserve to be put through this. Right. A lot of times people have these fears like, I don't want to be alone, or, he do pay all the bills. I guess you can weigh out whether it's worth getting your ass whooped or having somebody pay all your bills. I'd rather just give me a job and pay my own bills if I got to get knocked around all the time. Right. Ain't that much cable in the world. Right. Like, so I say, nah, I'm cool. If I got to sleep on the mattress on the floor, I ain't gonna have nobody whooping my ass when they see fit. Um, Dion says, that Mama Jenkins just hit on a very important point, because we were talking about the makeup and the hair and all this kind of stuff. And women, please chime in to the conversation, 262-202-5131, because brothers, especially with the eyelashes, I notice we're all very critical of the eyelashes. Because it is very funny to see these Mr. Snuffle up against eyelashes on some of these girls. Like, where did you get them big ass eyelashes from? I don't know why they think that's cute. And I guess some men do, whatever. And women say, well, I ain't doing it for you. All right, well, that's cool. That would explain why you got feathers on your eyelids. But women, call in and let us know. But Mama Jenkins said, I believe in natural beauty. I do too. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be all, if you go somewhere and somebody looks high maintenance, that's a sign. For some people, I would say it's a red flag. If you got all this stuff on, like, who are you really under all of that? Like this sister in Alabama, where if the parents say she didn't have her wig on, because they found the wig at the scene, right? Like that was one of the things left, right? So like, did the abductor snatch her wig off? This is a very weird scenario. Mama, I'm sorry. Dion says, I'm too old for all that. Let me try it out. And if I like it, then we cool. If not, then kick rocks. He said, Kev, you can't even say hi to these women without them turning their nose up. He said, MOB. We know what that means. Then he said, she had a white man. Oh Lord. I don't do how much of it do you place on race? Or like, is this like really a sign of incompatibility between white men and black women? I don't know. How does race play into that situation?
You mean like in my relationship with him?
Yeah.
It was more with him. We were compatible. I would say that we shared the same interests. He wasn't no typical white boy. He's what black girls call white chocolate.
Okay.
He liked, rap music and all that.
He was a
But
wigger.
yeah, but we did have instances where we did fall in. People make comments, especially of our child, saying that he looks more white. They're happy he looks more white. He doesn't look like his mom's shade color. So it was stuff like that, like, oh, she's only with him because it's money. So yeah, that it played a huge part because I feel like he did not understand. He did not get it.
Okay. And I definitely want to say to brothers out there, if you believe that every dude who got a white woman found a white woman with money or came into some money, you are sadly mistaken. There are a lot of poor white people in America. There's more white welfare recipients than there are black, and people who say, well, that's because their population is greater. Yeah, whatever. Look at it per capita as well. White people are poor, like they're poor as anybody else. And just because you marry her, your credit score, or you get with her, your credit score don't automatically go up. Because more often than not, you can meet a sister who could put you on the same kind of path if that's what you're looking for. Because there's a lot of black women who will show you how to get your money right because they got to run a household, and they'll say, let me show your ass how to budget. Right. So if that's one thing a black woman can do, I know my mother she was frugal about $1. So she'll show you how to, hey, we're gonna make it off $50 this week, but we gonna eat and we gonna be straight. So, well, that was in the 80s. Now it had to be $500. Ruben says y'all have an amazing evening. We getting in the air. Great conversation. Good luck, man. Happy travels, safe
Peace,
travels to
peace.
wherever you're going, Ruben. Check us out. The shows will be archived. You know where to find them. Good luck, man. I seen Ruben put up a post and said he was done with Milwaukee. Said he was out of here. He was going to Arizona. He talked about the passing of the tax hike and just the way black people here have kind of said this is what we want. To me, this is what they're saying. This is what we want. You know, when people make decisions or they don't have an uproar about what's going on, I feel like this is, what they want. That's what kind of knocked me out of grassroots organizing. Like people think it's,
Can I say something?
hold on. That's what kind of knocked me out of it because I just got disillusioned with people. You go out there and get on the front lines for some shit and you put us 2 steps forward and they take 7 steps backwards and then look at you like you the one on some bullshit. So I just kind of said, you know what, fuck this. This ain't for me. Go ahead, Sean.
So I want to speak on these leaders and people becoming content, comfortable, giving up, right? Because I witnessed this shit, right? First watching it, from the outside, not being involved with the fight, but watching it, not being able to get involved, and watching these leaders and hearing this Caucasian talk about the lack of leadership in our community, right? It was so fucking hurtful, and I was fucked up for a couple of days after that hearing. To watch Malele and Chambers acquiesce to Pratt, man, who really showed that she's just gonna continue in the ineptness that her father started and continue in the this fake role of leadership.
Hold on now, Vince. I mean, I'm sorry, Sean. Don't vent yourself because you talk about Vince. Now you just brought up Marvin Pratt. He's not in office anymore. What we say, don't talk about the past, talk about your plan.
But hold on. I'm talking about a pattern.
Okay.
I'm talking about a pattern from Ashanti. From Pratt to Ashanti to Pratt, right? There's a pattern, man, that has been. It's there, and it started with Pratt, right, and him changing how the liquor was sold in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Pratt isn't originally from the Rufus King area.
Oh, I know he's
Pratt
not.
was staying out of right here and saw an opportunity to become alderman. So, he's not. He's a hybrid nigga, just as his daughter is.
He's a what? Say that again.
Hybrid.
A hybrid. Okay.
Nigga. Yeah.
What's a hybrid nigga?
They not from that area originally.
Okay, tether Negroes.
Okay, well, whatever you want to call it. But you know, man, to watch these people, man, basically slap this whole city in the face. That's what they did, right? And they do it because they know that the other council members, they just gonna go along with the shit, right? Because oh well, we just go along to get along. And what do? We become discontent and disconnected. And we say, well, fuck it. You know what I mean? If the people that we put in leadership ain't giving a fucking name going about the shit that we telling them, I'm just gonna sit back and say, fuck it, right? And one day I'm gonna die and be done with this shit. We can't sit back and accept that shit though. We can't. Lele didn't in her district. She closed a fucking store down that had weed and shit in it.
Mama Jenkins says they got those damn tents out there in pink jumpsuits. It's not a place for a black man. I visit all these places where people move and they still move back here. Yeah, I mean, some people figure it out. I mean, I'm always just tripping, like, and I'm not in no particular order. I think it's always funny when people be like, you know, Milwaukee is fucked up. I got to get out of here. I need to change my life. And then they move somewhere and like be working at Target. Like I'm living my best life. And I'm like, you could have worked at Target in Milwaukee. But I get it. You needed to change. You needed to change. And they pay more at Target out there than they do here. That's what people always say. But Kev, you don't understand. They pay way more at Target out here. It's like, all right, well, you see. But I want to get back to my sister and ask her, do you work with people? Like, are you doing any kind of work with people right now? Like, do you, because I heard you say that a school teacher reached out to you about dealing with trauma. Have you gone and spoken with some young ladies or because I feel like with Courtney's Village and your services, that's like, you know, boom, boom, boom. That's a super connection. Because Courtney talks to youngsters. So do you talk to young people about this?
Yes, I partner with NAMI, and with NAMI, I go to high school, and we talk about mental health, and you know, try to stop suicide. Kids with that, you know, try to harm themselves.
Okay. Now, black teenage suicide is that something? Because I don't hear about that a whole lot. You know, there used to be a belief that black people didn't kill themselves. Like that's some white people shit. Black people don't do that. But we found out, you know, different in the last few years. But is that a stigma that you feel like we need to overcome, or we need to inform people of to know our kids are killing themselves as well?
Yes, that, and also we have to, when it comes to men, black men. I feel like there's a lot of black men that are dealing with traumas, especially if they've been, you know, touched at a young age. They don't know how to speak up because they feel like they're less than a man. And some men who are dealing with mental health every day, and they're struggling and they don't speak out because it's a sign of weakness. So suicide from black people do harm themselves, and also black men, it's okay to cry and it's okay to be emotional. And it's okay to speak up.
There we go. Dirty words on Outlaw Radio. It's okay to cry and it's okay to be emotional, right?
It's okay. Let it out.
Yikes.
Don't hold on to it. Don't hold on to it. And speak up. If you've been hurt by somebody as a man, it does not mean you're less than a man. There are women out there that do take advantage of men. You know?
Absolutely. I just need for you not to be a real like severe crier though. like if you my partner, like I understand some stuff when it hurt where you say, man, dog, this got me messed up. Because I done had some partners to break down and say, man, I'm messed up, dog. Like I'm dealing, this is rough, but it can't be about everything. Like you can't just be coming by just like, man, she slapped me, dog. She slapped me again. It happened again. Because I'm gonna start to look at you like, what's up with this cat, man? Like, bro, you can't be coming over here crying every Tuesday because you got slapped, man. Like that's not masculine. See, I think while we try to remove what we call toxic masculinity, we need to reinforce some principles of masculinity as well. like little boys do need to get emotional maturity. They need to get on, they need to get that even keel. Like I'm saying, like those old school cats, like my father, I never seen him get flustered. He might tell you later on, I didn't know what the hell I was gonna do. Or he might tell you, man, that was driving me crazy, but you never knew it because he went and dealt with it. He went, if we had it, what we gonna do, Pop? Just give me a second. Let me look, I'll be right back. And I don't know if he got in the car and cried, you know what I'm saying? Or if he, pulled somewhere over and said, oh shit. But usually the problem was handled. And then later on, he might say, boy, you talking about somebody stressed. Man, I was dealing with that. And we couldn't tell because he just was about like, you know what? Let me maintain, because my mother was gonna be frustrated. She was gonna be the one like, and he used to just be like, just relax. I got it. So we need to start teaching that to our young men as well. Like, I think women don't respect weak, emotional, sensitive men. I think a lot of women lose respect for a man who cries just as much as she do, and his excuse is, well, I should be able to let mine out too. And she's like, yeah, but you a whole dude. Why you acting like a little batch? So it's important for you to man up in front of your woman sometimes, is what I'm saying. Like, you have to be, sometimes you gotta be the wall, you gotta be the fence. If we going through some really severe, because I always say your job is really to take the first bullet if somebody busts through the door. Like, that's really, you shouldn't be alive and everybody else got killed. And you're like, I don't know what happened, I passed out. It's like, what? You're supposed to be the first one to go and be like, oh hell no. So I just feel like certain parts of masculinity should be reinforced. Like kids now, if they get talked about, they say I was bullied. We call that getting ribbed on. I grew up in the 80s. You got ribbed on. I don't care. You got, somebody was going to say something about you when you came out the house. Your shoes, your pants, your shirt, your mama, your car, your brother. Like, it was, listen, for years, there was always called me pissy. I didn't piss in the bed. My mama would not allow that. I would have been decapitated if I had our house smelling like piss. But it was just, I was the youngster. So she just, hey, pissy. And everybody thought it was funny. And I'm like, I didn't go in the house and say, Mama, I'm getting bullied. I was a little kid and I just told her, fuck you, bitch, one time. And she said, you little motherfucker, what you say to me? You heard me, bitch. And then I ran home. And she never called me pissy again because I stood up for myself. And I didn't even know what it meant. I had just heard my mother use it a lot. So I figured it was bad. So when I walked up, she said, hey, pissy. I said, fuck you, bitch. She was like, that little badass little dude. And I hit it. Like, so, but standing up for myself was the most important part of it. So a lot of times, instead of saying I'm getting bullied, and then you just keep taking this every year. We know pressure bust pipes. Every day you go into school allowing somebody to just continuously just, look at you. I mean, I was also a ribber as well, so you wasn't gonna really rib me too many times because I was gonna humiliate you, right? Like eventually, especially as I got older, I'm for real finna go in on you. Like I seen your mother, right? When she came up here to pick you up after school. You have no grounds. So and more kids need to toughen up, man. There's a lot of this still bullying me. It's like, dude. Now we talk about bullying. Did y'all see the lady? We reported on this a few months ago. The lady who attacked the MPS teacher at Martin Luther King Elementary School. Did y'all see her? She's a booger bear for real. She's yeah. And I'm
like what you use that word. She's a behemoth.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say whatever I want to say about her because she attacked an innocent teacher, right? Like, and this sister did not deserve that, and she hasn't been in the classroom since. She's about to have surgery as a result of some of her injuries, and she attacked her from behind. But this is a silverback that I saw today in court, and she pled not guilty. But I might pass on fighting with her. I might say, I'm gonna go ahead and leave. Because that's a whole lot of woman. And she's and she said that, she pled not guilty. And it's like, how you plead not guilty when everybody on the playground saw you hit her from the back and then beat her? But yeah, she's gonna do some time. And a sister who, she said, I hope she gets some help for her anger. And I think that this is another case of trauma. I mean, no telling how traumatized this big grizzly was. Like, I'm pretty sure people have been just, kind of dealing with her a certain way her whole. I don't know if she's been that big forever, but this that kind of big that you been that big. You didn't just gain that weight over summer. You've been that big for a long time. And I'm a big dude. So I'm just saying, but if y'all see her, you say, man, I feel so sorry for that teacher because it was a Hulk smash. This is a big one. I don't know. Y'all go see it. It's in the People News Network, right? She looked
Oh
disgruntled.
man.
Hulk smash. What the fuck?
Yeah, she's Hulk smash for real. She's teacher Hall. Like it's like, oh shit. When she came on the playground, I know the kids is like, damn. No, I'm not trying to. I know, my bad. Bad host. She deserves it though for putting her hands on that teacher, that big old booger bear. You know that was unfair. You ain't got no business doing that to nobody with your big old self. Ewok said they still put you in pink jumpsuits in Arizona, but they banned Tent City because of cruel and unusual punishment. Okay. Mama Jenkins said, KB, we got so many families that have been affected in this city by homicide deaths. So is this documentary going to be targeted towards family affected in the city due to all types of violence? Most of these children have met death at the door and have never talked to anyone. So, I mean, is this focused on any particular trauma or is this just about all of it?
We have Courtney, hers is family trauma, and I don't want to give out too many details, but we're dealing with family trauma. We're dealing with rape. We're also dealing with people, person who've been in jail and they experienced trauma from there. Also trauma with, domestic violence and so forth. But I don't want to give away everything.
Okay. But we are dealing with a lot of kids who have witnessed losing someone. Mm-hmm. And Mama Jenkins, I don't know if you've ever heard Kwabena speak, but that's one of Kwabena's things that I've seen him give to kids and say, how many of you all have lost somebody close to you due to violence? And watch these hands go up and watch, pretty soon almost. And then some of the kids, they want attention. So they jump in.
Can we be honest?
Like, you lying. You don't know nobody. You just trying to be involved. What you want to be honest about, Sean?
Because I've witnessed it as well, and I like Quad, but he pulls a lot of trauma out of these kids, man, and he opens up a lot, and then he's gone. You know what I mean? And they're left to deal with that. Some kids have put it down. And yeah, I just think that be more follow up with them kids after he's pulled them into this experience of reliving this trauma or opening themselves up to this trauma.
Okay,
that's my.
I've heard that critique of a lot of different people though, that there's no follow up and no, you bring this out to kids and then you just kind of leave them, right? You say roll them hard and put them away wet. I don't know if that's a good. I don't know. I'm horrible. I'm a horrible person. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. But I've seen that, and not as a critique, but I've also seen. I think that you can draw certain responses from people if that's what you want, right? Like if I say, think about the time when your grandmother was laying there dying and you knew you would never see her again, and tell me how'd you feel? And the kids say, oh yeah, my grandmama. And I say, you see, my words is power. No, you just brought up one of the worst memories this person ever had, and just asked him to talk about it. So I see the trick in that, right? And I'm not criticizing him because he's doing something. At least he's having conversations with kids, right? So I'm not totally against him. I just feel like, sometimes you can prod enough if you understand the art of communication, because you can do that to a grown-up, right? Like
they do it all the time in church.
Yeah.
Your man ain't acting right. Your kids lost their mind. Just give it to Jesus. Like by the end, everybody stand and shout, yes. He talking about my kids. No, all y'all kids crazy. That's just that buckshot approach.
Right.
Yeah. You cover a lot of space, right? Like if I throw enough rocks, I'm gonna hit somebody. So and oftentimes my experience of working in social services, that is the problem. No follow-up. I know when we did this alternative correctional program at St. Charles, which was, and it was residential treatment, in which we kept kids from going to Lincoln Hills or going to Wales. They got a stayed sentence. They were adjudicated teenage felons, and we would have them. We would implement therapists, counselors, mentors, trackers, put them in schools, and I would do school advocacy and all this kind of stuff. I had plan of care meetings. As soon as he turned 17, bye bye. Put him right back into the environment that had him fucked up in the first place. And there was no checking back on him. There was no follow up. And as a result, right now, when I talk to a lot of my coworkers who worked at St. Charles with me, a number of those kids died. They got murdered or they murdered somebody else. And so I know at least 7 or 8 of them that are doing football numbers right now for murdering someone when they got out. And there's a bunch of them who were, murdered in the streets afterwards. And it's like, how successful were we? I hear people saying, but what about the ones that did turn their lives around? If you got one, you were successful, right? But you weren't in focus though. You were in the shelter, right? No, you was in the girls unit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Theirs was different. I don't know what they did in that girls unit. I don't know what theirs was different from ours.
They didn't do nothing.
I don't know okay. I don't know because the shelter, they didn't really get shit. They was just held there until they went to court, or mama had, if they didn't have nowhere to stay after they was arrested, they go to the shelter. The girls unit at St. Charles was too much for me. I just was like, no, I'm cool, because they would be fighting and they would come on the radio and say, it's a code red, all hands on deck. And I'm like, do you think I'm about to go in there and start grabbing on them little girls? Talking about I'm separating the fight. And normally it's at bedtime. When you get over there, they got their pajamas on. Yeah. And I vividly remember just standing there and my boss was like, come on, Kev, help. I was like, no, Charlie, you go ahead and do that shit. You a white man, you get away with this shit. I'm not doing this shit. I'm not grabbing nothing. I'm not doing it. I don't need those problems in my life. But yeah, so I'm glad my sister, you are here tonight to have this conversation with us. I'm dying to see the documentary. Because I don't read books, right? Because I can't read that well. I'm joking. I'm dying to see the documentary, but because I'm dying to hear the stories. But I do want to say this, since people came after me early in the show and came at me last week about some things that I said, because we were debating Sukihana coming with the Eating the Ass song and Sexy Red with pink and brown and all this kind of stuff. And it was stated that we make excuses for people, and because you said they have the right to be free and they have the right to say what they want. Well, I reiterate my statement that you have the right to say whatever you want. I believe in free speech. You have the right to say it. Now, there is a price to freedom of speech, right? Because certain things you say, people are going to come after you. Certain things you say, somebody's going to take a moral stance. But I'm here to tell you, most people who are revolutionary or innovative, when they first came out with their message, there were people who were on the righteous side who said that they shouldn't be saying what they were saying. And case in point, when you talk about civil rights with Black Americans, do you know how many uppity Negroes did not like Marcus Garvey when he first came out and he was saying some of the things that he said? One of the original things that slaves did to each other was tell on each other, because one nigga was just saying some shit that was a little too crazy. Don't you say that. You better not say that, or they go tell on you, right? And your ass will get hanged. So I think we have to, it's okay to criticize somebody. If you don't agree with what they're saying, if you say morally to me, that's not cool. You got the right to say that. But that doesn't take their right to say what they want to say away from them either. Now, this sister even goes on today, and Erica Hunt puts up a post of her saying about how Black men are so horrible, and that if you look at the nursing homes, they're full of old Black men because nobody takes care of old Black men, because they've beat their women.
What the fuck?
They've beat their women. They haven't taken
Yeah, this
care
is shit Sukihana said. The dumb shit.
Yeah. This is her. Listen. This is Sukihana. This is eating ass. The girl who made the song "Eating Ass," right? And so And Mike Kimmett, shout out to Mike Kimmett. He happened to see the post because I posted it in the People's News Network, right? And he came with the real statistics that said nursing homes are the population of women is actually higher. But her reasoning for all this is because Black men, when we get old, there's no one to take care of us because we didn't take care of our kids. We abused, cheated on, and beat our women. We were menaces to society and the community. We went to jail. And that's why nobody cares about old Black men, because we're so crooked. And that's why Black men are so underserved as older men.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, you could.
Please.
Yeah. Go ahead.
An older Black man. Yeah, an older Black man. Fuck that bitch, first and foremost.
Okay.
Excuse me, women. But yeah.
Because that's how you right. That's how you respond to that.
Statistically, she's way off, as Mike said, and unfortunately, you know, her outlook comes from the type of men that has been in her life. So, you know,
okay,
coming from her, somebody who's obviously scarred, I'm gonna pray for her and hope that she gets some help.
Okay, I first want to say, while I wholeheartedly disagree with what she said, I thought the statement was very ignorant. She has the right to say it. I feel like if that's her opinion, she has the right to say it. And it may be based on her experience. If that is all she's seen, if that's all she's dealt with in her life, she has to speak her truth. Right. Just like she says, I made a song. Hold on, Sean. Hold on. Just like she said, I made a song about eating ass because that's what I do. Right? Why I don't agree with it, and I think it's a negative song, she has the right to say it. Yeah. I, as a consumer, get to choose whether or not I'm going to buy it or listen to it or anything. But I'm not going to take somebody's right to free speech because what they're saying I don't agree with. That was my whole point. I wasn't saying whether or not.
So why do we criticize anybody? So why do we criticize anybody that say anything in the media then? Like I said the other day, Kanye West. Why do we criticize him then?
Because
like,
we have the right
coon,
to.
Hold on. Let me say something. Is being a coon worse than being ratchet as fuck for our daughters?
Yeah. To me it is.
That's worse?
To me it is.
Bullshit.
Nah.
Bullshit.
Once again, I said to me. A coon to me hates his own people.
That bullshit.
A coon to me hates their own people. A coon is a person that I don't want to be associated with. So to me,
all I'm saying is
this is my opinion. It's my opinion. You ask me a question.
And what I'm saying is what we all do.
You can't ask me a question
and
then
what
give
we
me the
all do
answer.
is criticize what we don't like.
Right, but we have the right to do so. I never said in my criticism of Kanye West that his right to free speech should be taken.
You holding a double
I didn't agree
you
with
holding
it.
a double standard, though, kid.
I never said his right to free speech should be taken. I said I didn't agree with what he said. That's my whole point.
You said they could
I never said he shouldn't be able to speak.
Man, he could die with all this bullshit. Man, I never said he could die.
What are you talking about?
You said some dumb shit.
I said he could die with his. What? What are you talking about?
Yeah, you said that shit all about it.
That's one way to do it is make up some shit I didn't say. Right? I never said none of that shit. I never said that. Let me see. Who's this? This is Mama Jenkins. She says, Kiwa and I are great friends, and we have shared like minds. I've been involved with them. Oh, Kwabena. Oh, she's talking about Kwabena. Okay, my bad. She said, Kwabena and I are great friends, and we have shared like minds. I've also been involved with them from the very first calendar. So we do have a history. I just wanted to know if it will be places of reference after the documentary. Thanks to your guests, and I will try to see this on Saturday. Okay. So she said she just wants to know what the follow-up is. Erica Hunt says she had to come back. What's the topic? We all over the place like bird shit tonight, Erica. I did reference your post from Suki where she took a big fat crap on black men. Is it surprising that she did? No. Just like it's not surprising me that Kanye West is walking around looking like a retarded ballet dancer right now, based on his logic and my original criticism of him. but he has the right to do so. He has the right to. If you want to make
That's
a
right.
fool out of yourself,
That's
by
right.
all
Hey,
means,
Kev, I'm just saying,
make
I
a
was
fool out of
saying the
yourself.
conversation that you having right now, I was saying about Kanye back then. He got
Okay,
the
and we
right to do
agreed
that.
then
He
and we
can do what he
disagree
want to do. That
now.
don't
I
mean
mean,
you
we
gotta listen
disagreed
to
then
him.
and we disagree
Remember me
now.
saying that?
We disagreed then and
Remember
we
me
still
saying that?
disagree. We still disagree.
And
We
that's what I'm
disagreed
saying, man.
then.
You know what I mean? It's
You
a
said
double
you loved
standard.
him. That's
We
your
hold
man.
double standards for people. We hold
That's your
double
man.
standards for people.
So okay, hold
We
on.
hold
Time out.
double,
You talking
we
about
hold
double
double standards
standards.
for people.
You're
Is what I
talking
was
about
saying.
double
And it's
standards
not
when
my
you're doing the
man. You
same
ain't gotta
thing.
go there, Kev. You
You're
ain't
doing
gotta
the
go
same
there, man.
thing.
He's not
You're
my
doing the
man.
same thing. You are
He's not
doing
my
the same
man. I
thing.
just brought
You
it for
defended
reference.
him then, and now you defended him then because you like him. I said I didn't like him. We disagreed. So we disagreeing right now. There's no
Hey,
difference. There's
Kev,
no
I
difference. Ain't
said
about no
then,
double standard.
and even in that situation, I said Kanye say a lot of smart shit, but then he'd come and say some dumb shit. Same thing I started with this Hookie Hunter conversation, and it just took off again.
When was that video posted in the People's News Network? I can't find it. I posted it today, actually, because Erica Hunt put the reel up. So it's in there now. It should be in there. If y'all ain't been to the People's News Network, please join. It's FBA news. It's FBA information. Like I want to give my sister's information about her event and his documentary. Courtney, you're a member of the People's News Network. You could put that up in there.
Yes.
Do you have information or a flyer or something?
Yes.
Now, don't tell me you're in the documentary and ain't got no promotional material.
Just said yes a couple times. I know I did. I don't know why you talking crazy.
Well,
Now I gotta say
you need a microphone because
Yeah.
it wasn't registering. You was moving your mouth, but it wasn't no sound coming out. So you got it. What y'all used to tell me about my microphones and all this shit. So now you the one with the flip phone. So you gotta get a laptop or something. Y'all hit the cash app so we can get Courtney a microphone. Who is this? This is Jesse. Okay. So my sister, like I said, it's a shame that people, we move furniture around here on Outlaw Radio, right? Because black people don't really like each other a whole lot. So this is a place where you can come and duke it out and everybody can leave the gym and go back to their home unscathed, right? So if anybody out there got an opinion on anything, it's your opinion and you have the right to it. So call in and or put in the chat room or whatever. But I do want to ask you this before we close. I do want to ask you this. What is your main point for all of this? If I was to say, why are you doing this? What would you say?
I'm doing this because I wish somebody was doing this for me. I wish somebody would have told me, hey, you can heal. And there's people out there that experience the same thing that you have, and bring more awareness to mental health, especially people of color, and domestic violence and all the trauma that we have been put onto us, even from birth inside our mother's womb. We've experienced all this trauma, and to just give them hope to know that we can heal, we can get out of poverty, we can grow, we can prosper, and we can experience wealth, not just in money, but in everything we touch.
Okay. And I heard you reference the meditation and I heard you reference spirituality and stuff like that. But if somebody came up to you after this documentary and said, I need to know what's the first step I should take? Where should I go first?
I always ask people, are you ready to heal?
Okay.
I always ask that question because we think that we're ready, and then when it's time to do the work, we're not fully ready and committed to do it. And know that this process, a lot of people are not going to be with you on this journey, and God will isolate you while you're going through this healing process. So you have to make sure you're really ready to change your ways and heal.
Okay. And that conversation that you had about, I mean, that what you talked about, having that conversation with yourself. That's one that we've talked about as well. Looking in that mirror. If you've ever stood in the mirror naked, I challenge people to stand in the mirror naked and look right at yourself and ask yourself, do you like what you see in the mirror? Can you deal with that person that you see in that mirror staring back at you? We know a lot of us can't. A lot of us won't do it. They would like, I'm not doing that. Um, can you look at that at that image and say, I'm good with you? I got love for you. I want to make sure you're okay. A lot of us can't, and that is the beginning of a lot of different problems. So I would encourage anybody to check this documentary out, to get that book. But the first thing is, if you find yourself in a deep hole, you got to stop digging. So if you're in an abusive relationship, especially where you're getting touched, you got to get out of there expeditiously. That's like the first step. That's what I tell somebody. Like, first of all, you got to get away from your trauma or your traumatizer, right? Like, cause go to him and tell him, I've been meditating. Now you got to stop beating me. He gonna be like, hey, if I catch you meditating, I'm gonna knock the shit out of you, right? So you got to get away from him because he's gonna tell you why you shouldn't meditate. He's gonna be the person say you believe in all that bullshit, girl. Please, you ain't got it that bad. So you get kicked in your ass every now and then. Don't I buy you lots of nice things, right? Sometimes your ribs are sore, but you got a brand new car. Like you don't. They will rationalize it. They got you, and they have mental kind of like shackles on you. They'll keep them there. So I want to thank you for being here. Courtney, you gave us the link. We'll share the link again in the People's News Network. Jesse Perry said, I found the Sukihana interview video in the People's News Network, but no one with the big sister hitting the teacher in MPS. Oh, the silverback should be in there. I could have swore I put it in there.
Silverback.
I think it's in there. I think Cocaine Bear is in there. That's what I'm gonna call her, Cocaine Bear. Right? I try to hide because if she see me in public, be like, oh, heard your remarks on Facebook. I might be the next one getting my ass thrashed. Like, damn, she ragged all the shit out of Cam. Right. His feet came up in the air. If you ever getting beat up and your feet go up in the air, that's the worst ass whooping. Like his feet was in the air. It was horrible.
What?
Did y'all see this? That they went in Vegas? They went to the FBI did a raid on Keefe D's home in Vegas. If you don't know who Keefe D is the guy who came out and said he was in the car with his nephew, and when he shot Tupac. So he admitted that they shot Tupac as a result of his nephew, Orlando Anderson, getting jumped after the Mike Tyson fight way back in the days. Y'all got to keep in mind, Tupac been dead almost 30 years.
You think he's telling the truth,
right?
Kev, or you think he lying?
You know what, Keefe D, I live in the podverse, so y'all got to understand, I watch a whole lot of YouTube. So I've seen so many of his interviews. There's an industry, a Tupac industry that's on YouTube where people are making money, in some cases making millions of dollars. All they do all day is talk about Tupac. Talk about, I knew him. Let me tell you a story about him. What my theory on his death. There's books. There's documentaries. What Keefe D said sounded authentic as to why it happened. What we don't know is who actually pulled the trigger in the car. His nephew was murdered a couple years later, and the other two guys in the car, I think another one of them was murdered, and then one died he had some diabetes. Keefe D himself admitted all of this when he was busted for heroin possession. He was a big-time heroin dealer. He signed what you call a proffer agreement, which is basically, I'm gonna give you some information if you let me off, and you can't prosecute me for it. It's like you get immunity through it. Mm-hmm. So supposedly he signed one of these when he admitted all of this stuff. Now there's people who said, well, at that point his nephew was dead and all his guys was dead, so yes, it's not an unusual practice for somebody to say, no, they did it, and you get off. But the implication of Sean Combs, P. Diddy in this, when Keefe D said Puffy gave him $1 million for them killing Tupac. And there's another individual involved who supposedly intercepted the money and took it and did what he wanted to do with it. But so this could potentially be something that's big. If imagine if Sean Combs is implicated in this in any way, right? That he paid to, with a bounty for Tupac getting murdered. But I just think it's interesting that after all of the Vlad TV interviews and all of the art of dialogue and all this stuff, Keefy D has been on here telling his story, and he's managed to forge a little, little income from this. And then they go and raid his house. 30 years later, murder has no statute of limitations in Las Vegas. At this point, where I'm at with is like, do it matter who shot him? He's dead. People still say Tupac alive, by the way. Tupac is in Cuba. That's what they say, right? But I don't think it matters, And my thing is, if this is the truth, because his real father, has come out and said he thinks there's a government conspiracy behind the murder of Tupac. Do I think the government murdered Tupac Shakur? No, I don't think they did. I think he got involved in some stuff he shouldn't have been involved with with his stature as a rapper, as an entertainer, as somebody who was, already iconic. I just feel like he put his nose somewhere where it shouldn't have been, and it cost him his life. Like that game of Crips and Bloods on the West Coast is something we can't even conceive because it's not the same here. It's a culture for them. And if you mess with, if you get involved in that out there, it's different. They don't. It's seriously no joke, right? And my conversations with some Los Angeles Crips kind of proved that to me, where I was like, "Oh shit, that's how you feel," and they like, "What you mean, cuz? This how it is." It's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I'm from Milwaukee." So I don't know. What y'all think? What y'all think, Keefy D, or do you think this will ever actually be solved on like who did this? Who actually murdered them? Or do you care? I mean, y'all, I don't know, man. I don't know. What y'all think? I just want to get y'all take on it.
I think it
I don't
happened
think
the
it'll
way
ever be solved.
I think it happened the way they said it happened. He jumped the nigga and shit. That motherfucker didn't care who he was. He was just retaliating on getting his get back. You know what I'm saying? So I think honestly, I think that's what happened. I don't think it's no big major conspiracy or anything like that. Just
Okay.
he shit touched the wrong motherfucker and must didn't understand that even though he was famous, he could still be touched.
What about you, Kamar?
Yeah.
Kamar, you was finna say something? I don't think he can even hear me.
No, I was just going to say, I don't think it's ever going to get solved. You know what I mean? I don't think it's ever going to be solved. It's too late now. Too late in the game. You know what I mean? Everybody done put out all kind of stories. Everything is really theory at this point.
Okay. Old head stuff. I know young people be like, who cares? Right? Like that's because they wasn't around when they don't remember when he was alive. So they don't care,
Hold on.
Courtney, what you think about this?
I was just gonna say I don't care. No, I don't care about this. Like, and niggas get killed every day. We talking about Tupac. Niggas get killed every day, all day. At that.
Okay.
No, I don't. Nope.
Okay. My sister, you got any, or you like Courtney? Like, who gives a shit? I got a documentary coming out.
I'm 50-50. I feel like he's gone, but I really don't care. It's done and over with. We can't bring him back.
Oh.
Okay. Sean, you grunting like you got something you want to add to the conversation.
Not really. Shit, y'all basically covered it. He made a fatal mistake, man. He could have caught, but yeah, they play it well. They don't play it no differently than people here.
Okay.
It's just a culture out there, man. You know what I mean? And he violated. Was gonna get it. Somebody was gonna get it that night. So.
And tune in. And we'll be here from Sirius XM, Rock the Bells Radio. We're gonna talk some hip hop on Monday night, and like, on one hand you have his catalog selling for some arrests, investigations still being launched on his behalf. I don't think people really understand how big this dude. Like I hear Courtney say, I don't care. But there's millions of people who would go off on you. Is it called Black Twitter? Like there's people who get emotional about Tupac, right? Like they will be ready to go to the mattresses. Like, what the fuck you mean? And so, and it's mostly people of our generation who remember when he was alive, who really was that he was putting out for us as young people at the time. Erica said, I feel like the culture is changing, and each time women evolve to the standard of society, there's been a sister like Suki saying what we all want to say. Okay, so you agreed with her black men, Erica. You agree with what she basically said is that, but her statistics were off because technically women outnumber, right? Like, so she was wrong, but did you bogus as hell for saying that about Pop? He's like, I don't feel that,
Whatever,
man.
Dion. Whatever.
I want to know what everybody. We know documentary is coming up. Kamar, what you got coming up?
Tomorrow I'll be at Skybox Lounge from 5 to 9. Saturday I'll be at the Fondy Market. Yeah. And then Monday
Saturday,
I'll be back here.
You went out when you started. What did you say?
Oh, Saturday I'll be at the Fondy Market from 8 to 2.
Okay.
And then
now,
Monday
what time
I'll be
is
back
it for
here.
the documentary?
The documentary starts at 5 p.m. Good music, good food, poetry, just nothing but good vibes and healing.
Okay. Well, what you got coming up for the weekend?
Just still working on my second book, 40 Ways to Get $40. Still promoting my current book, 12 Steps to Becoming Your Own Dope, available on Amazon, as well as my gratitude journal. So, and then I'm on TikTok, like I said, busting it down about emotional intelligence, the benefits of shadow work. And lately, like I said, they've been coming on my heels about this Bible shit. And all I've been doing is sharing my own experience and what led me to outgrow church. And people just can't take hearing your beliefs if they not what they beliefs, or if they make them question their own beliefs. So I'll probably be doing another couple videos. I got a couple more rebuttals at motherfuckers that want to leave comments. So so that's what I'll be doing.
Okay. You banging with the Bible people, right? Bible banging.
Bible thumpers, man. Don't be no shit. It's always the people that don't read the Bible that try to come at you about the Bible. I used to teach this shit.
Okay. Courtney, besides the documentary, what do you got coming up?
Besides the interview with Real this weekend, I think that's about it going into the weekend. Yes.
Okay. Dion says, before I go, why am I staggered now? He says, I'm going to 360 and grab me some Harold's chicken and look at some fat booties. Okay, Dion, I hope you have a good time. Look at some fat booties. Erica said her number game may be wrong, but the concept still has some truth behind it. Once again, Erica, I think that those are the men that
it's all about the men that they associate with. They be jaded as fuck based upon their decisions.
Yeah, because none of the stuff she had, none of the stuff she said applied to me at all. Like I ain't beat on no woman. I ain't been in the penitentiary. I've raised my children. So, I mean,
and the men that's in the nursing homes ain't even the men. Hey, the men that they talking about that's in the nursing homes, shit, they way too old for these people to even know about. Like, it was a whole different way of life back then. You know what I mean? The people that's in the nursing homes is like 30 years older than us, 20, 30 years older than us. You know what I mean? She can't be nothing but 20-something. How the fuck she know what them men did to be in a fucking nursing home?
And I want to comment on that because I work. I'm a manager at a nursing home. There's not that many Black men in a nursing home. The ones that are there, they are not there because of what they've done to women. Some of them are married, little, they lost their wives and They family come see them all the time.
Niggas don't live long enough to be in a nurse home. That's the real thing. Niggas dead at 60, 65. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reality of it.
Yeah, once again, I think she spoke to her own experience. It's just like when she talked about eating ass. I think that's her own personal preference.
Can't even be her
And
experience.
and so I give people all the space in the world to speak from their perspective and say what it is that they want to say. That don't mean I gotta agree with it, but I don't wish death on her because she's misinformed or because she's dealt with some people who have done her wrong. I just love when somebody come in my chat room and be like, answer the phone. Like they literally tell me what to do. It's the most greatest thing.
Can I make an announcement before you get off, bro?
Yeah. Well, hold on. So I want Erica to get her chance to say what she got to say before I cut the machine off. Go ahead, Sean. Call in, Erica.
Congratulations to my son and his group, CVH. They made the finals to open up for G Herbo, which will be on August 16th, I believe, in Joliet. So, yeah, my boys that made the finals, looking to go on tour next.
All right.
Okay.
For sure.
Congratulations, youngster. Erica, what you got for us before we go?
Yeah, man.
So we can cut your ass out.
Don't cuss me out, first off, because if you a good father, you a good husband, that post wasn't supposed to make you feel no type of way because you've taken care of your legacy that's going to take care of you. And that's how come the very few men that are in nursing homes is because they've took care of their legacy, so now their legacy is taking care of them. Suki is talking about the deadbeats, the immoral people, the people who don't give a fuck about their kids, who live a certain lifestyle, the ones y'all don't hang out with because you don't agree with their morals and their standards in life. That's what she's talking about. And the statistic might be off, and mind you, this is just my opinion. The statistic might be off because a lot of these men aren't making it to the nursing home because they're not building legacies. They're not taking care of people in their younger days up into their old age. You get what I'm saying? And me and my mom, we were just riding. I took her to the store and everything, and we were listening to the show. And she started to say, well, my husband is taken care of. She got to be defensive like you are. Like, that don't make sense to me. But it shouldn't make sense to you because your husband been taking care of you. Your husband took care of us, his stepchildren. He's taking care of his legacy. And now he can sit up in his house and do what he wants with his money.
Okay, I get that perspective, but the way she made the statement,
how many men do you think Suki knew?
And it was generalized. It sounded like she was theorizing. Like anytime, and I think we got to be careful because sometimes you can say something and it can be your opinion, but she made it sound like it was actually a social theory that was full of facts and research when it wasn't. It was a very misinformed statement. It was a short-sighted statement, but I'm sure it was a statement that spoke to her experience. I think what she should have said is, in my experience, it's her truth.
Like she put out.
I remember the tip that I used in my reel today is only that minute and a half of the conversation of an interview she's conducted with the podcast she's on. So that interview is 15, 20 minutes long. I've only showed a glimpse of what it is.
Okay. Context is everything, but sometimes it's the only thing. I get what
she
you're
said
saying.
some more wild shit too. Hey, how many? This is what I wonder. Like, how many men do she know that lived their life enough to that wound up in a nursing home? You know what I mean? Like, how many 70-year-old, 80-year-old men do she know and how they act throughout their life? You know what I mean? How can you generalize that? Because she ain't even old enough to know too many men that old.
I notice a lot of women who are in the and I'm pro-sex, I'm pro-sex work, but I notice a lot of women who in the sex work industry, they do get such a jaded view and perception of men based upon the men that they frequently come across. So it's like that's her truth, but you got to understand who she is. She talked about being a hoe. She talked about her mama and women in her family being hoes. You know what I'm saying? So if you coming from that perspective, you know what I'm saying? Of course, You meeting Johns and shit. You meeting stripper frequent visiting people. You know what I'm saying? So you can't formulate all men or most men based off of the men that your whole energy has brought upon to you.
Right. I think some people would say consider the source. We talking
Right.
about Suki, right? Like I don't want to discount her. I don't want to say she's not valid. I'm just saying a lot of times celebrities get a chance to speak on things that they probably shouldn't be speaking about. And for her to theorize, about black men, because when I hear you say black men, I automatically include myself because I happen to be one.
You can't say
a
you
lot of times I
enjoy
say,
being
oh, wait a minute.
disgusting and then get the crying and bitching about disgusting ass men. I support her right to be disgusting, but I'm also gonna say that disgusting shit is gonna bring about disgusting people on your path.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
It's hard to hear the rest of the show, so I just wanted to just get this last little input out there so I can hop off the phone and listen to the rest of the show. But my comment about the culture is changing to the society standard. This is what society is expecting of us. Like, even though we got a handful of good men out here and it's all about who you know, but you got to think about it.
Just a
We have to
handful.
learn
Women don't even want to know what good men got to say.
Just a handful. She said it's a few of you. It's a few of y'all out here.
Hey,
but my point is, before Kevin
black women don't even want to know what good black men got to say.
Generation has always had they female empowerment role model. One point of time, Whitney Houston was, you know what I'm saying? There's so many different, from generation to generation, from genre to genre. There's always been a woman who spoke her mind to help set free other people, regardless if she was 100% right or wrong, or regardless if it was scripted. There's always been someone who is like, fuck what you talking about. We're not staying in the old ways. We're moving into the future. There's always been that message. There's always been a sister who's had to put herself out there to get the message across about female empowerment. That's all I'm saying about the culture. So if it ain't Suki saying it, it's going to be somebody else saying it. And unfortunately, right now, the culture is the whole culture. So that's who is speaking up.
Okay.
Ain't nobody listening to nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And that's
I feel like people saying, so at this point, we should just say fuck it and let the society go the way they want to take it. Right? Nobody should stand up. Nobody should stand up for what they feel is right.
Well, I like to say something on what she's saying. I think it comes to the point of public opinion and a person's perspective of what they see to be true in their own, through their own eyes, and of their capacity of their own understanding what they have experienced in their lives. Far as women speaking their truth and evolving and things like that, yeah, to some point, but again, it goes back to our public opinion. We cannot continue to categorize men in one box and say they're bad men due to what we have experienced, because not all black men is bad. You know, you got some white men, Latino men. There are bad bunch in different races. So we can't continue to put black men into this category like they're bad, they treat women like this, and that's not true. There are good men out there that worship women, treat them like queens, pay their bills, they don't put their hands on them or anything like that. And we have to really sit back and be careful of what we say, and also know that when you're saying things, you have not met everybody around you.
And they gotta stop being victims. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually when people get to talking about all men or all women, they speaking from a victim perspective. You know, it's like, yeah, I came across some shitty women on my pursuit of love.
I mean, but real, in order to be a victim, there had to be a...
Huh?
She said,
oh shit, my shit freezing. Is it mine?
It froze.
Listen.
I didn't hear it either.
I want to say it's Kev. I want to blame Kev for that. I think it's Kev. I was right. And he froze right now.
Hey, but you know what though? Like women always we always talk about black men. Women always talk about good black men and stuff like that, man. But what I'm finding is a lot of black women don't even want to know what black men got to say, because whenever we speak up on something that we don't like, y'all don't want to hear it. I ain't saying y'all on the show, but I'm just saying black women. You know what I mean? Like whenever we speak up, y'all don't want to hear it. Y'all shoot us down and shit. But we telling y'all what we like. You dig what I'm saying? Like black men telling y'all what we like. And y'all like, no, I don't want, no, fuck that.
As long as people keep the problem externally, as long as it's they're the problem and you not looking at what the fuck resonate in yourself that attracts these people. Well, I ain't even gonna say attract, because nothing ass niggas and good niggas approach women. But women with weak ass boundaries are the ones that's gonna entertain the nothing ass niggas.
They always
so you gotta ask yourself and evaluate your own boundaries if you have this perspective on men.
Right.
Yes. But it goes when you track what you are. If you got low expectation, low standards, you're going to attract these certain type of men. When you have high standards, you're going to attract these type of men.
Hoes attract pimps.
Huh?
Hoes attract pimps.
Type shit. Or promoters, club promoters.
D-boys attract women of the night. You know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, it's just how it goes, man. You know what I mean? And I ain't knocking nobody, but that's just how it goes. Right. That's the same energy, the energy that attracts the same energy.
It's just if you want a god, walk as a goddess. You can't walk as a thought and expect a god.
That's right.
Sounds like we're gonna have a part 2 of this conversation, because it's so many different. It's so many different ways to approach it. What we'll do is we'll put something together where we, and my sister, I want to tell you, you're welcome to come back anytime if you're promoting anything. If you know, however you want to, whatever you want to push out to the community, please feel free to come on back. Courtney, I'm sure you will be an excellent point of reference for her if she wants to come back. She actually spoke very highly of you and said that you would be a great interview, and you've been a gracious guest. So I appreciate you coming, and I wish you nothing but luck on what you're doing. I want people to understand that Black people have to figure out a way to agree to disagree. It's so many different layers to everything. Everybody has a perspective. Everybody has an opinion, and they all have the right to have it, right? I think one of the mistakes that we've made over the years is figuring out or feeling that our way is the only way. Whatever an individual says, whatever I say go, I'm the authority. I'm the expert. I think anytime you allow yourself to become bigger than us, then we have an issue, right? We're all on the same level. We're all on the same platform. Nobody's greater than anybody else. Everybody deserves to be heard, especially when we start talking about the fact that some people need to be heard so they can be told to shut the fuck up. Because sometimes that's what needs to happen, right? You need to let them get it out their system so you can tell them, as he said on Martin, man, sit your dumb ass down, right? But everybody got the right, man. And I think if we start talking, speaking amongst each other, the way we communicate with each other and creating platforms in which we can express ourselves, everybody can collectively take one big ass woosah. Because a lot of times people just want to be seen. I'm learning this. My frustration with people on social media looking for affirmations or looking for positive reinforcement, I get frustrated with it, but I now understand the fact that just because you don't need it don't mean somebody else don't need it. Right. So that might be the therapy that they need. That might be the initiation of that conversation that my sister referenced in. Hey, let me deal with this person. Let me look at this person. Let me get to know this person. I think a lot of times people will be surprised to know that they don't really know themselves that well. Right. And they could be older. You're 30-something years old, and for whatever reason, you don't even really know yourself because you've either been with somebody who's told you what to do, or you've always followed the crowd and thought that's what you were supposed to do. When you stop for a second and say, you know what? I think I'm going to start doing me. I think I'm going to start doing for me. I think I'm going to start talking to me. I think I'm going to start thinking for me. Then you start down the road of discovery that's priceless, right? And so my first point of advice to anybody who comes to me for help professionally, when they tell me about all their problems, my first thing is to tell them, I want you to understand that you need to love yourself and you need to feel like you are important. Because a lot of times people don't do better because they don't think they're worth it. They don't think they deserve it. And they won't say it out loud, but that's really how they feel. It ain't really about what they say. Sometimes it's about what they mean. either way it go, I think people need to understand, yeah, we're irritated right now, but you can always get something for that itch, right? There's always, they say they make an app for that, right? So, and it starts with loving yourself. It ain't no mystical, magical, kind of super califragilistic expialidocious way for us to heal ourselves. It starts with us loving ourselves, because when you love yourself, you make sure that the things that you need are there, and it's easier for you to love other people when you love yourself. You don't love yourself, how the fuck you gonna love somebody else? This is what we need to start thinking about. Why are people hurting each other? Well, because they don't love themselves. So why do you think they would give a shit about somebody else? So there is a starting point and there is a method to the madness, and we just hope to be a part of the new era of bringing in this kind of thought for Black people. And that's why I do what I do in terms of a platform. Is I just want to be part of the point in history when Black people look back and say, at a certain point, we start thinking for ourselves, we start speaking up for ourselves, and being concerned about ourselves. Other than that, you end up dealing with a bunch of people whose criticism of the community outweighs their contribution. And y'all know what we always say, that means that they are coons.
Hey, some
And they
coons.
need to be tuned in Monday night and Wednesday night when we do this, so they can get some straightening. Peace and love. Y'all go check out the documentary. Good luck, Courtney. We can't wait to see it so we can critique your performance. And my sister, make sure you come back and visit us again. I'll see y'all Monday, man. Y'all have a great weekend.
Peace.
Peace.